I discovered explicit messages between my wife and a man at the gym. When confronted, she admitted to the affair but insisted it wasn't serious. My wife is 30 years old and she's always worked out and been in shape, but lately I feel like it's becoming excessive. She used to regularly work out at a gym when she was in college. At some point she stopped going to the gym, I think lately just due to her schedule, and preferred to work out at home or go for runs outside. About 18 months ago she announced she was going to get back into the habit of going to the gym. She now has a job where she's able to make more time for it. It started off normal, but slowly became more and more frequent. She signed up for classes on the weekend, both days. She started going to the gym every day, then it became the morning before work and then again later in the evening. Every single day. If she's stressed, she goes to the gym. Experience some sort of life crisis. She immediately heads to the gym. We have an argument. Run to the gym. She's 4 months pregnant right now. I'm kind of surprised we even had time to make a kid. I understand that it's safe for her to work out, especially since she was already in the habit of doing it before she got pregnant, but the intensity is not slowing down. If she misses one of her normal gym sessions she becomes so irritable. Like a junkie not getting her fix. It's just bizarre. Truly a case of too much of a good thing. Of course she gets upset when I voice that I feel it's becoming an unhealthy obsession and that I miss spending time with her because she's there so much. She has all of these friends and this whole circle of people there that she seems to prefer spending time with over me. Why don't we work out together at the gym? The gym is her time, she says. This isn't a case of me feeling insecure because she's in great physical shape and I'm a fat slob. I work out and am in shape. My job really requires me to stay in shape so I can't let myself go if I want to. I genuinely feel her gym habits are unhealthy. She's over-exercising, for one. There is such a thing. But worse than that, I feel it's becoming a way for her to escape everything else in her life. She never actually fixed anything that goes wrong in her life. She just runs off to the gym to get some sort of mood boost and then that's it. She also never gets anything else done in a practical sense because how can she when she's at the gym so often? It's to the point where I have to do every chore and if food is getting made I'm going to have to do it. I don't expect her to do all of those things, but it should at least be a shared effort. People we know have even commented about it to me. They've said things about how she seems different, how she sure is at the gym a lot, and many of her friends and family barely see her anymore. Some have even suggested she's having an affair with somebody there. Please tell me that this doesn't sound normal to you. She insists this is perfectly normal. Update 1. I posted not very long ago about my wife's addiction to the gym. A compulsion, if you will. She spends most of her free time there. She often goes twice a day and sometimes even 3 times if we have a fight at night and she needs to run off instead of actually talking to me. She won't let me go to her gym and she refuses to go to mine. Her gym is her place, my gym is my place, and that's just the way it has to be according to her. I'd love to have her come along with me. I've invited her multiple times. She's about 18 weeks pregnant right now. This is our first baby. She worked out like crazy prior to the pregnancy and she continues to work just as hard now. I truly didn't think she was cheating on me. People suggested it in the last thread and I laughed. You can tell she's at the gym a lot, she's in great shape. So she's obviously going there. I felt really confident about the cheating issue and when I posted 9 days ago I wasn't even considering cheating. I'm embarrassed to admit that after reading a lot of the comments on my last post, I thought maybe I was being overly confident about her fidelity. She usually always has her phone on her, but she left it on the kitchen counter and as stupid as I felt, I decided to do a quick swipe through her texts. She had a current text conversation going on with a guy. I recognize the name. The same name of a guy from the gym she mentions a lot. She's friends with a lot of people there, and went to one of their weddings last fall. I wasn't too terribly concerned until I started reading the texts. Never wanted to know what the guy's dick looked like, but I know now. She was only out of the room for literally about a minute or two, so I had to scroll fast. I was furious. I asked her what the fuck that conversation was about. She started yelling at me for looking at her phone. I told her she's acting so weird and the gym obsession was really bothering me, so I just decided to look and was ashamed that I did, but I thought I'd find nothing at all. She said, "It's nothing. It's nothing." Didn't look like anything to me. She sure seemed pretty interested in this nothing. I wanted to know if she's been fucking him. For how long? She kept saying no. I left the house because I was so furious, but not before I slammed her phone on the ground and shattered it. She was calling me all sorts of names for breaking her phone. She hit me on the back as hard as she could. I left. Went to my brother's house. My brother and sister-in-law were shocked, Although my sister-in-law was one of the most vocal ones about my wife's gym obsession being weird and bringing it up to me constantly. I went home. She was in bed crying. She obviously couldn't call me or anyone else for that matter. She was laying it on thick. I don't know if you'd ever come home. Give me a break. I took her phone to get repaired tonight. She doesn't deserve it, but I still feel like an ass breaking her phone. I still don't know how deep it goes. She won't admit to anything beyond what I saw. Was it sexting, bad enough, or more? I'm convinced it was a lot more, but she refuses to hand over her phone and is now trying to act like I'm this terrible monster who is abusing her because I broke her phone. Not my proudest moment, but I honestly wanted to body slam her after she punched me. I have never and would never actually touch her like that. Update 2. Not sure if posting something in my profile will be seen by anyone, but I don't feel like making another update in a subreddit. Today my wife asked me to stay home from work so we could talk. She laid in bed all day yesterday trying to make me feel sorry for her, but I paid absolutely no attention to her and ended up leaving the house to go to my family's Super Bowl party. I wasn't in the mood to go, but I wasn't going to sit at home with her. It really bothered her that I left. She kept texting me things like, "Who just leaves like that? When something like this is happening, who is that cold and callous that they just leave to go to a party?" I stayed home today to talk to her. She was full of tears. She's so sorry. According to her, she really was going to the gym twice a day because she likes going there. That's where her friends are. Makes her feel good. It's fun for her. She met this guy there and he started flirting with her. Everyone likes him. He's one of the most popular guys there. I didn't realize there were popular people at gyms. She admitted that she flirted back but didn't mean anything by it. She didn't reciprocate very much at first, but he gave her butterflies, and she just found herself flirting back without thinking. She said it felt like she had a crush on somebody when she was in school when she was younger. They started texting. At first it was just friendly and nothing sexual for several months, but she'd feel giddy every time she got a message from him. She was really attracted to him, but told him that she was married and there could never actually be anything between them. According to her, he kept flirting with her anyway and said, "Sure, we won't cross the line." Until they did cross the line. She said she had tried to resist it for a while, but then one day they kissed. She admitted to enjoying it but also feeling that it was wrong. She must not have felt that bad because she slept with him for the first time later that night. She described it like falling in love with somebody for the first time. All she could think about was him. Is she in love with him? She doesn't know. Is this baby mine? She thinks so, but there's always a small chance it could be his. He always uses a condom, so she doesn't think it's his baby, but they were sleeping together at the time she got pregnant. She loves me. She can't help that there's just this huge spark between the two of them. She doesn't know if she loves him. She doesn't know if the baby is mine. She doesn't know why she did this. She doesn't know what she thinks we should do. The nail in the coffin is when she said, "You would really leave me if it's not your baby, would you?" She had the balls to ask me that. I told her of course I'm leaving her and I wouldn't raise another man's child. She seemed shocked. She said, "Really? With everything we have in all our history, you wouldn't even consider it?" She can't be serious. I told her no, I would never consider it. She agreed to get a DNA test. She tearfully agreed, like I'm supposed to feel sorry for her about it. I don't know who this woman is. She was crying the whole time, but not tears of an ashamed or sorry person. They were tears for herself and meant to try to make me feel bad. Feel bad for what? That her heart is apparently so torn. My life has been reduced to a trashy daytime talk show. The woman who was once my wife, who I considered a classy woman, has turned into complete trailer trash. Today she announced that she's moving in with her affair partner from the gym. She's pregnant, might be his kid, might be mine. She's too embarrassed to go get blood drawn for a paternity test. She spent about a week trying to get my attention, to get me to talk to her, to get me to beg her to be mine. I didn't fall for any of it. I've largely been ignoring her, and when we have to speak I keep it very brief. We've been living together this whole time, but I'm in a different room now and functioning separate from her in all ways. So her pouting and trying to get me to pay attention to her and give her a gold star for not going to the gym for 5 days in a row didn't work. Today she texted me to say she is moving in with him. Somehow I still care about this person. I've already met with a lawyer though. I can care about her as a human being and possible mother of my child without being married to her. Still, it stung to hear her say she was going to be with him. I told her it wasn't a smart move to leave the house. I've even told her she should probably meet with a lawyer. She doesn't care about anything I have to say. I don't think she needs to move in with anybody. I actually feel bad for her that she can't just be on her own. I asked her if he actually knew she was pregnant and wanted to know what story she's been telling him this whole time. She said he knows and he doesn't care if it's my baby, he loves her and wants to be with her. Bizarre. You can't find anyone else? Somebody who isn't a married pregnant woman? Why would you take that on? Doesn't make sense to me. He's scum, but he's a good-looking scum who apparently is gainfully employed and owns his own home, so you can't tell me that my married pregnant wife is your only option here. I just can't imagine being a single guy like that and wanting to put up with this baggage when I could have other options. And if this really is my baby, then what? They'll live with my wife and this weasel 50% of the time. I don't know how my life turned into this mess. And she thinks it's embarrassing to have to go get blood drawn? My wife moved in with her AP last weekend. She didn't take very much at all. Most of her stuff is still in our house. I still get the feeling she was just waiting for me to beg her to come home, but I didn't reach out to her at all after she left. It was a strange mixture of relief, anger, and sadness. I don't think I ate at all until last night. Just never felt hungry. Drank a little too much. But I'm fine. I'm posting this update because I've received a ton of messages from people, and honestly it's emotionally draining to respond to each one and to have to type the same stuff out. I just don't feel like talking about her that much. So this morning she texted me to say her AP wants to get a DNA test done, so she's going to do it. Look at that. It didn't matter when I wanted one, but now that he has requested it, she suddenly thinks it's a great idea. She asked if I wanted to submit a sample because it'll be cheaper to have two dads tested as part of one package. I don't even care about the cost at this point, I just want an answer. I don't have to see or interact with them at all. I just have to make my own appointment with the lab to get my cheek swabbed. So this Saturday I'm going to do that, and we should have the results within a week. I'll take what I can get at this point because it's better than her dragging this out for another 20 weeks. So that's it, I'm fine. I'm going to work every day. Trying to function. Just feel stuck in limbo. I miss her. Honestly, I hate that she's there with him. It makes me sick. Part of me does want to beg her to come home. It'll be even worse if I find out that it's my baby and she's there with him. Unless he drops her at that news. I won't let myself beg her. I won't play any of those games with her. Update 2. My wife has been having an affair with a guy she met at the gym for at least nearly a year. She's around 22 weeks pregnant right now. She was somewhere around 17 weeks when I discovered she was cheating. She maintained that she was positive I was the father, but then refused to get a paternity test done to ease my mind. We recently had a paternity test done. At the request of her affair partner, and it proves the baby is mine. It's been very mixed emotions for me, very up and down. Originally I thought I just wanted to be completely done with her and not have any lifelong ties in the form of a full-blown human being we shared, but I was sort of happy or relieved when I got the results. I'd already had it in my mind that I was going to be a father for months before I found out she was cheating. Sometimes I just have moments where I can't believe this is my life, that this is the situation that my kid will be born into, and I hate her for it. She's still living with him. All of her belongings are still here in our house. I refuse to do the work of packing everything up for her. She doesn't seem concerned about taking any of her things, beyond the essentials. After we got the news that I'm the baby's father, she texted me to say she's glad I'm the father and that she knows I'll be a great dad. She was texting me new baby name ideas last night. She's tried calling, but I ignore the calls. I only speak with her via text. This morning she asked if she could come by and get a few things. I told her it was fine, as I've been advised by my lawyer to not prevent her entry from the home, but I told her that he better not be with her. So who shows up with her? The scumbag boyfriend. He walks right on into the house behind her like it's no big deal. She ran upstairs to get the stuff she wanted, and he and I were just left standing there in the living room. He told me it wasn't her fault that he was there. She told him I didn't want to come, but he forced his way along. He wanted to talk to me, supposedly, to tell me he understands how I must be feeling. No, you don't know. He told me he knows I probably don't believe him, but he genuinely loves her and knew he probably wasn't the father. He accepts it and then tries to assure me he won't try to take my place with the baby and hopes we can just get along since we're both going to be in her life now. He promises that she's fine, he's looking after her. I told him that I couldn't for the life of me imagine what he wanted with a pregnant woman who is having another man's child, which I found weird. Then I told him if he didn't get out of my house I'd punch him. I went upstairs and she was trying to find some things in the bathroom. I got mad, asked her why she brought him along, and told her I find it really strange that he still wants to be with her now that he knows he has nothing to do with this baby, and that I refuse to let him have anything to do with my child. She said he talked her into coming and she's sorry and never meant for any of this to happen, but she's in love with him now. He is supposedly what a 30-year-old girl is looking for, not me. She's setting up a nursery in his house and I can set one up at my house, and she has no intention of trying to get full custody or anything like that. She doesn't want to keep me from being involved in my child's life. How generous of her. She went back downstairs and I followed her, and he was still standing there in the living room, and I just walked up to him and punched him. He stumped back and fell into a table. She yelled, "What the fuck?" and ran over to him. I don't even care at this point. As if he's going to call the cops. He deserved it, and it wouldn't have happened had he just left like I told him to. Several hours later she texted me to say she was sorry about today. He really meant what he said, and he's actually a good guy and he cares about her and he respect me. WTF, does he respect me? He was screwing my wife in the gym locker room. I was like, you can't be serious. She said, fine. I'm trying to have a mature conversation about this. I can't help that we fell in love. Believe it or not, I'm not trying to hurt you and I want everything to be amicable. This guy stole my wife and he's stealing my kid too. Sure, I'm the actual father, but now they're setting up a nursery together in his house. I've tried to not feel jealous or sad. I've tried to maintain the thought that he's the trash man who picked up my garbage. Sometimes I feel that way, but the truth is that I loved her, and still love her. I don't want to stay married to her on principle alone, but this is devastating to me. Update 3. My wife is basically 26 weeks pregnant now. There actually hasn't been much drama with her and her AP. I was away for a long weekend last week and it was nice to just get away from home for a while. Only really annoying thing that's happened is that I told her I'm being in the delivery room, not him. After everything she's done, she owes me that. It's not his baby. He has no right or reason to be there. I will not be the one waiting outside when my kid is being born. She said yeah, she agreed, and she never planned to have him in there with her. I asked her if she'd told him that and she said no. I told her to tell him he'll have no part in it. Well, she told him and apparently he didn't like that and he started trying to convince her why he should be there. Next thing I know, she's telling me that he really wants to be there and she's the one giving birth, so she should be able to say who she wants there and she wants him there. I suppose he'll start making name suggestions soon and we'll try to overrule names we've had picked out for our future kids for years. We've talked a little bit and she told me I can have our house and the dog in our divorce. I'm requesting that we sell the house and split the profit. I already wrote that in the paperwork. I'm not buying her out of our house, a house that I've made all the payments on anyway. I have a much better credit score than her and less debt. I compromised a lot because she liked this house. I'd rather be able to get my own place based just on what I want and with no reminders of her. And there was already no way she was getting the dog. I already had proof that I owned him though, so she wouldn't really stand a chance of having a court award the dog to her. It's the one thing I told my lawyer I wanted above everything else, not including any custody issues surrounding my actual human child. Honestly, her AP can have her, but he will never ever have my dog. Not to mention my dog is 100 times more loyal than my wife, and some might even say better looking too. So with the idea I won't be living here in this house for much longer after the baby is born, if everything moves quickly, I decided I will still prepare a nursery here anyway in case anyone wants to try to accuse me of not being invested, prepared for fatherhood. I'm trying to look at the positives. It doesn't matter what colors she likes or what themes. I can do whatever I want. Honestly, we've been together for so long and have lived together for most of our adult lives. It's sort of nice not living with somebody, but sort of lonely too. I have friends and family, but it's hard to feel in the mood to go out or hang out with people too often. They always ask me about everything that's going on and it's just like I'm tired of that being the topic of conversation. I got a promotion at work, which financially would have been better had it happened after the divorce, but I'll take what I can get. I feel like I'm living in this limbo right now, and a lot of what I do is always framed around how will this affect me in the divorce. Admittedly, I spy on them on social media sometimes. Guess I'm hoping to see he's been in a motorcycle accident or something now that the weather is nicer. Hasn't happened yet, but he's starting a new company, and once that's up and running I can always get all my friends and family to leave 1-star reviews everywhere. Have to find ways to have a little fun. Sorry that I don't respond to a lot of messages or comments. Sometimes I just take big breaks from looking at Reddit since it can be depressing AF. Editing to add something I forgot. She told her family that we've split up and that she's with this other guy now. Her sister reached out to me to say how sorry she was, her sister is a dumbass, that sort of thing. She told me that my wife was complaining about her AP. The sex is over when he's done, and apparently he's really selfish with sex. He doesn't do extra little things for her that she's used to me doing. Like clearing the snow off her car in the morning and heating it up, or offering to make her food after a long day. He doesn't speak her love language, And he hangs out with his friends too much. This made me so happy to hear. She's secretly miserable and I find that absolutely delightful. I'm still alive. I'm mainly posting here because several people have reached out to me and were concerned that I'd taken my own life. No, I'm not on the brink of ending my life. I think I'm doing better than I have since all of this started. Around the time of my last post, my story blew up and I was getting messages from people who saw it on TikTok and YouTube. I had to take a step back because it was a little overwhelming. I have over 100 unread messages here. I appreciate it, but it was a little uncomfortable at the time, and I got to the point where I didn't really want to talk about the situation with my wife and her AP anymore. So as of today, our baby is due in less than 10 weeks. We're in the home stretch now. I don't feel prepared at all. All of this other stuff has just been so distracting. I started working in a nursery. It's not done yet, but I have the floor finished and the walls painted. My ex-wife was impressed with the color scheme and furniture I chose. She's not legally my ex-wife yet, but I've started calling her that. It sort of makes it easier. I also packed up a bunch of her stuff. Originally, I refused to spend my time packing up her things, but eventually just said screw it and started packing it. I'm at the point where it'll just be easier to not see all of her stuff around here. Why did I leave it for so long? She came over to get some of the boxes I packed up. She came alone. Things were fine between us. I loaded the stuff into her car. We didn't argue. At one point she started to tear up and said she fucked up. I said yes she did, but there's no point talking about it now. She shit all over our marriage. She has her muscle-bound asshole to go home to now anyway, so who cares? She said I know, but it's not the same. I told her nothing has been the same since she decided to fuck him the first time. Supposedly he's going to let me be in the delivery room when my baby is born. I didn't even argue it when she said it like that, but inside I was boiling at the idea of him letting me be there for the birth of my child. She says she talked to him and he agreed it wouldn't really be right to not allow me to be there. I'm going to take what I can get if it means being there for the birth of my child. I'm going to try to just ignore him for the time being. She was acting all sweet and laying on all of the I really want you there, I really need you there stuff, and I know mentally I'm not in a place to be that cold to her when she starts acting that way. I'm trying to be indifferent more than anything else, but it's so hard when she's actually around and starts looking at me a certain way and making me feel bad. She invited me over to see the nursery they have set up at his house. I'm not sure I can bring myself to go into another man's house and look at the nursery set up for my kid. I did ask her if she was truly safe there though. I don't know why, it's just been bothering me. As pissed as I still am, I don't want to find out he's mistreating her, and I definitely don't want my kid to be going into an unsafe household. I haven't told her about anything her sister has told me. They probably won't last, but as of right now there's a very good chance my newborn baby will be going home to his house. It kills me to think about. It's almost soul-destroying to think about if I dwell on it too long. She says she's fine. He genuinely loves her. He's great with kids. He accepts that she's having a baby and that this is part of the package. She insists it's not weird because she wasn't pregnant when anything started between them. I asked her why she did it. Why did she ever let anything start between them in the first place? She said I don't know. Then went into I don't want to talk about this mode and left pretty soon after. Typical behavior from her. Just run away. Overall I'm doing okay. I'm not sitting here depressed and drinking a bottle of scotch every night anymore. I mean on occasion, but for the most part no. I feel more used to my new normal now, and that'll all change yet again pretty soon. New update. I have a baby. A little girl. I'm a dad. She was born yesterday at 11:57 p.m., 2 weeks early. As he's done before, she was having some pains off and on and he left for work yesterday morning. She works from home on Mondays. She told me around 8:30 a.m. she was having contractions 17 minutes apart. The same thing happened not long ago, but then by evening all the pain stopped. I was at work, so I told her to keep me posted. A little later, she said they were 15 minutes apart and she had some other signs it might be actual labor starting. I asked her if she needed somebody there with her. She said wanted me to come with her? I didn't even mean to volunteer myself. She was scared. I didn't even ask why she didn't call him. I left work and went over to his house. Uncomfortable doesn't begin to describe it, but there were obviously more important things going on. He wasn't there. She didn't even contact him. She said she just wanted it to be me and her there. In her words, he hadn't seen her pee or shit herself yet, but I've witnessed all of that stuff already, so she was more comfortable with me there. I really tried to be as nice and supportive as possible. Set the whole thing about her affair, our marriage, everything to the side for a brief time. I don't really know what my purpose was being there, but I think she just needed somebody there so she didn't feel alone. She spent most of the time stretching and doing some sort of yoga labor routine and bouncing on this huge exercise ball. I twiddled my thumbs for the most part and looked through a bunch of his belongings. I was timing the contractions and they were consistent and slowly did get closer together, so I thought it was probably actually going to happen. It wasn't nearly far enough along to go to the hospital yet, and it was getting close to when he'd get home. I was planning how I'd handle that when she called me into the bathroom to ask her if I thought her water broke. It wasn't like in the movies with this huge gush of water. So he got home and I was there. He came into the house and the first thing he asked was, "What are you doing here?" I think he thought something else was going on. "No, you just left and went to work and left her alone when she was scared." He said he was home and he'd be with her until it was time to go to the hospital. He put his hand on my shoulder and said something like, "Thanks, bud, I got it from here and we'll call you when we're on the way to the hospital." He called me bud. I told him I wasn't his fucking buddy and to fuck off. I could tell she wanted me to leave. I'm not sure she really wanted me to leave so much as she was in labor and the tension between the two of us wasn't what she needed, and I knew that. It was his house, so what was I supposed to do? I left and prayed they'd actually call me instead of letting me know the next day that my kid had been born. She texted me a few hours later to say the doctor told her to go to the hospital. At that point I still didn't know if I was going to be waiting outside or what he'd decide was best for his apparent wife and child. I was allowed to be in the room. I didn't force my way in there. She said she wanted me to be there. He was there too. By far the single most awkward experience of my life, and the only reason I was able to excuse it was because she told me she wanted me there and I didn't want to miss the chance to be there when my kid was born and to hold my kid before he did. I can't imagine what the doctors and nurses were thinking. Fucking humiliating. Then the guy tried to police what I could see. I put the baby in there. He's fucking watching and it's like this is still my wife and that's my baby. I chose to stay dignified and I ignored him the entire time. I was there to do whatever she told me to do and my focus wasn't on him, but in any other setting I don't think I would have been able to hold back. The baby came flying out. I mean, as far as labor goes. These are the nurse's words and I trust labor and delivery nurses to know what they're talking about. She tore very bad because the baby came out so fast. The baby is so tiny, barely 6 pounds and only 18 inches, but perfectly healthy. I went home for a short rest, although I really couldn't rest at all. I went back today and of course he was there. Surprisingly, he said he was going to give us some time alone with the baby. Not sure if she had previously asked him to do that when I showed up or not, didn't ask. He even brought us all food back when he returned a few hours later. I wondered if mine might be poisoned, but I tried to be nice. He's still not gone, so I'm wondering how long he'll be around. I just can't let myself do anything that will make her try to keep me away from my daughter now. I don't want them making it difficult for me. I'd prefer not to share her name publicly, but I can confirm it's the name we chose for a daughter years ago. He had no say and he hasn't said anything about the name at all. It kills me to see him holding her though. I eventually left because it was just too much sitting there pretending to be like some bizarre company. I'll know I will get my time with her when he's not around. He's already posting them on his social media. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. I just have to find a way to be the bigger person because I won't let him or their relationship discourage me from being my daughter's dad. I totally get doing anything for your kids now, and if it means having to pretend to get along with him, I will. Relevant comments from OP. It's not about picking me. I just have a hard time not caring about her anymore. The fact that she was carrying my child made it a lot more difficult, otherwise, I could have and would have cut all ties with her. I don't know, I still feel the need to protect her or help her. Hopefully it'll get easier now that she and the baby are two separate people. Honestly, I'm considering doing something pretty stupid. She's getting discharged from the hospital early tomorrow morning. I don't want them to go home with him, so I'm thinking about asking her to come home to our house instead. It's ridiculous and sets us up for disaster. It wouldn't be to be with her. I don't want my newborn baby going home to another man's house. I don't think it's for the baby's sake that I want to stop it. It's for my sake. But it's not like we'd be divorced and living together forever. So we'd live together for some period of time, but eventually we'd go our separate ways, date other people and so on. I can't trust her again. That would probably be worse for our kid in the long run. At least by being in two separate homes in the first place, this will just be the norm for her and she won't have to go through that heartache of being one family splitting into two. I just don't know how I'm going to be able to handle seeing my child going home from the hospital to his house. I'm honestly scared to be present when they're discharged because I'm not sure I can control myself. I caved and I asked her to come home with me when they was discharged from the hospital. I framed it more like, if you don't want to go home with him, You don't have to. I let her know she could come home to our house if she wanted to. She said she can't. Why? Because he's done so much for her. He moved her into his house. They have a whole nursery set up. He loves her. I don't love her anymore after what she did, her words, but he loves her and accepts her even with the baby. She thinks she'll never find anyone who will love her and love our baby too, so she can't risk losing him. I tried to tell her she doesn't owe him anything. Just because he let her move in and there's a nursery there doesn't mean she's indebted to him, especially not when it comes to something this big. She said, I want to, but I just can't. I'm sorry. I left. I told her I couldn't sit there and watch the get into his car and go to his house. As a consolation I got a, you can come over and see her tomorrow. Great. I know she did this. This is all her doing. But why am I the one feeling like I failed? This wouldn't have happened if I hadn't immediately shut her out. I basically just pushed her to him. OP on the AP posting pictures of the baby online. Today I told him he can't post pictures of her online. He said he was just posting a few pictures to say how proud and happy he was of my wife. It wasn't weird. I said he can post her all he wants but he can't post the baby. He didn't seem to be taking it seriously, so I told him I know he wishes he'd won this one, but he didn't. She's my kid, not his. If he's genuine about being all buddy-buddy and respecting me as the actual father, he'll respect my request. He said okay, he understood, we'll see. I faced police calls due to a classmate's misunderstanding about my bruises. Now, she must change classes and face the consequences. I, 19, am in a nursing program. We do a lot of physical exams on each other to practice, which involves wearing shorts and tanks. It's important to mention that I am permanently blind in one eye. I'm constantly running into walls, doors, railings, plants, people, animals, everything. As you can guess, I'm covered in bruises 90% of the time, on my blind side. In the course one day we were talking about signs of abuse and the teacher said constant bruising. I raised my hand and added that it's important to talk to the patient if they're an adult, before calling the police as it could be something else. She asked for an example, so I rolled up my sleeve and explained that the bruises were from door handles of the school which were varying colors and heights. She nodded and agreed. She said that with children, we call the authorities the moment we suspect abuse. With adults, we first attempt to talk to them, and if their reason seems valid, we don't call. The lessons continued, and about a week later, the cops showed up at my door. They told me they had received a report that I was being physically abused and always covered in bruises. I explained my disability to them. They checked my home, talked to my family, and found no further signs of abuse. When I asked questions, they told me they got my address from the university because they take abuse seriously here. When they talked to the university about me, the university was very concerned and just wanted to help me. After the police left, I talked to some people at the university, including a psychologist, just so they could be sure I had no mental signs of abuse. Then life went on. Well, I was still coming in bruises every day, and one of my classmates came up to me. She told me our classmate Kay was telling people she was thinking about calling the police again because I'm still covered in bruises. I got my classmate's report written down, alongside a few others, and waited. Sure enough, police showed up again. Same song and dance, but this time I told the university that Kay was using the police to harass me and I wanted something done about it. The university decided the best course of action was to move her from my labs to the other ones so she couldn't see whether I was bruised or not. She's now told me I'm an asshole and that she was just trying to help me and I didn't need to mess up her whole university schedule. Relevant comments. Deleted user. She really didn't learn the lesson the class was taught, did she? A lesson she needs to understand if she's going to work in this job. If she'd done what the teacher taught, talked to the adult, then none of this would have happened. She brought this on herself. Comment 1. She was harassing you by carrying on calling the police. Once can definitely be out of concern, but after everything was checked out and you were safe, she decided to continue, so it's totally on her. OP, I was fine with the once, it's okay, people make mistakes, but after the second time I wanted to make sure it'd stop. Comment 2, I'm not blind in either eye and I'm also always bruised. My legs and sides always have a big purple knot somewhere. It's a daily occurrence. Multiple doctors have said it's not a medical issue. I just have terrible spatial awareness for where my body is. I run into door handles, my work desk, and counters. I get my clothes caught on stuff all the time. It's entirely my own lack of attention and clumsiness. Comment 3, Kay knew about your disability and literally learned in class about talking with the patient before reporting. Additionally, Kay could be a serious danger to her patients if she did this with a DV case. The abuser may escalate when confronted by police, which can create a dangerous and potentially deadly situation. Comment 4, Kay found out the consequences of 1. Not believing you, and 2. Not minding her own business. She needs to learn to rein that in, or she's not going to keep a job as a nurse with assumption-making skills like that. Comment 5. Genuine question. How do you get bruised almost every day? Do you have low sight in your other eye as well? Do you wear eyeglasses? I'm blind in one eye as well, by birth. I'm short-sighted, but I rarely get bruised running into things. I usually sprain my ankle due to not noticing unlevel ground, or hit my toe on the wall corners due to blind spots once or twice a year, but the peripheral vision and the angle at which I turn my head to keep my eye at center is more than enough to not bump into things so frequently. OP. I'm nearsighted in the other eye. Stuff on my left side is just impossible to see. Glasses get in the way of some of my peripheral vision. Keeping my head turned too long causes stiffness in my neck, and I have to be able to turn my head fast and quick. As I said, well, I get bruised a lot. It doesn't interfere with my job. It's something I've grown up with. And I bruise easily. I don't bump into anything at home, but in the outside world I do. Comment 6. I ask this as a nurse, and I mean no disrespect, but are you sure that nursing is the best field for you given that impairment? OP. Yes, I love helping people, and I'm fully capable of the job. I'm the only one who ever gets injured in my daily life, lol, and it's typically because I'm not paying enough attention to my surroundings and don't notice something new and trip on it. Update 1. Okay, so, I'm blind in one eye. I run into random stuff if I'm not paying enough attention. I'm covered in various bruises. Showed this during class while talking about abuse and how we have to talk to adults before calling. Girl decided to call the cops on me twice claiming I'm abused, resulting in me forced to go to counseling, talk to therapists, police, etc. until everyone was assured I wasn't abused. So anyways, it's been a bit since that post and I have big updates on her. I called her Kay in the other story, so let's stick with that. So anyways, I had previously gotten her removed from my labs. We still shared class, not lab. I figured everything was fine now and she'd leave me alone. But I was wrong. Not only was she spreading rumors that I was abused, but she called the cops again. Apparently more than once, as the other 2 times the cops said they had a report of abuse. This time they said reports. When I asked how many reports, they said that it was multiple people. So I don't know if others in class called or she had her family do so. I just don't know. They couldn't tell me who called due to privacy when it comes to reporting, to try and make sure abusers don't attack the reporters. Apparently my university had attempted to stop them when the cops spoke to them, but the cops had to check anyways, so they came after talking to the university anyways. And again we did the same song and dance. I told them I felt like someone was using the cops to harass me. And the cops took this. They said no one would show up again. And anyone that calls would now have their name taken down, and if they call after being told not to, they'd be charged with harassment. Well, that was about a week ago, and someone continued calling, tried to claim a different name, didn't realize they record phone numbers as well. So there's your update on Kay. She called again, and again, and again until it got her charged with harassment as well as misuse of police resources. Not certain what's gonna happen going forward or if I'll be called to testify. I'm not certain what's happening, but I haven't seen her since I was informed that she's still called, which I found out from another classmate. Relevant comments. Deleted user. What's the school doing about this? Is she getting expelled for harassing you? OP, seeing as she's probably ending up with a criminal charge, she will be expelled. Comment 1, you're not just protecting yourself. You're protecting the patients she might have had in the future. She's got big issues. Comment 2, this really pisses me off. My toddler has von Willebrand disease, so her blood doesn't work the way it should. She is so covered in bruises all the time that she looks like a Dalmatian. She also has paper-thin skin, so she has many cuts in a day. One day she even got the corner of her eye open from the corner of a pillow. Last summer we got a call from the CPS. Someone called them that we are beating our child and that they have seen it. This is not true. And if you really saw a parent beating their 1.5-year-old child, wouldn't you stop it when it was happening? Not called a week later. Best part was that we weren't even in the country when the beating took place. Someone was just mad because we have been renovating our house and the noise was too much for them. Pure harassment. Comment 3. I read your other post and was glad to find this update. While I agree Kay is definitely in the wrong and needs to have the consequences of her actions. Hopefully not being a nurse is one of them, since she seems unfit for it. I really came here because I was so upset about how people were saying you shouldn't be a nurse because you are blind in one eye. My brother is blind in one eye. Actually, he has had a prosthetic eye since he was a kid. He has been a nurse for more than 30 years. ER nurse, cardiac surgery nurse, trauma unit. He's done it all while having no sight on one side. People that say you can't be a nurse need to F off. They are narrow-minded AHs. Also, my brother rides a motorcycle and has done since he was a teen. Do what makes you happy and F all the rest of them. Good luck on your career. Update 2. I don't know exactly where to start with this post, but I kinda want to give this update because I'm hoping it's the last one. So I made my last post only 12 days ago and shit kinda went down. Now, I need to explain that quite a bit of this is secondhand, because I luckily avoided the crazies. So basically, Kay does not know where I live, knows the general town, but nothing else. I did invite one girl in our class to my house to work on a project. She was the only person other than the university that knows where I live. Kay knows this, because her and girl who Emma call Lily, are kinda not related. Lily's cousin is married to Kay's cousin, so they knew each other prior to the program but not really well, and Lily is also the one that told me about Kay still calling even after the police promised me they would not show up again, which they haven't. They just started taking down the numbers and keeping track of who called, when, and did they call after being told not to. So basically, Kay knew me and Lily were paired up for the project, knew Lily came to my house, did not know where the house was, or what it looked like, just that it was in a town X kilometers away from where they were. They also knew the town name via Lily's mom, so I got warned by Lily that Kay's mom was going to try to find me to get me to drop Kay's charges. I'm not the one charging her. The police are. I have not pressed any charges despite some people saying I should get a restraining order. Lily warned me, and I hid in my house and did not leave until Lily told me that Kay's mom had returned home. Kay's mom then proceeded to harass Lily in an attempt to get Lily to give Kay's mom my address so she could knock on my door instead of driving around aimlessly hoping to spot me. Lily refused, and deleted all text between me and her to ensure that even if Kay's mom stole her phone, and somehow got past the password, that she would never get my address. Lily then informed the university of the situation, and had proof via text, that the university had her print off and give to them, and the police. The university's security are now watching for Kay's mom's car, and Kay's mom. Security is informed that if and when I'm at school they are to escort me to and from my car. My car is also to be parked near cameras, by order of the university, until the situation dies down. Luckily I'm at clinicals and not anywhere near the university. Kay was kicked out before clinicals so has no idea which clinics the students are at, or which I'm at. Had she stayed in longer, she'd have a literal list posted to the class page, about where I'm at, and where in the building I'm at. Kay's family apparently was informed by the police that any attempts to contact me would be harassment, so says Lily. Can't guarantee, but yeah. I kinda don't know how to feel. The next time I have to go to the uni is for exams in like 3 weeks, so hopefully Kay's family doesn't hold on to this that long. Until then I'm safe in a building filled with security, locked doors, and places to run. The placement was also informed about this situation and with pictures from Lily, who's at a different placement, are watching for Kay's family and has banned them from the premise in advance. So yeah, if this goes no further I won't update anymore, but if it gets worse I guess I'll update after my exams and the HSI. Wish me luck because I'm gonna try to not stress too much about the K situation and focus on my finals and HSI, instead of that, but don't know how that go. Hope y'all are enjoying my mild suffering and it entertains you, even if only a bit, so that some good can come from this situation I can't believe I'm in right now. So, yeah, thanks again for the words of encouragement and kindness some of you showed me during this insanity. Wish Lily some luck as she's being bombarded by her family to give Kay's mom my address, phone number, etc. And doing her best to hold out on this while making sure her phone is never out of her sight on the off chance she leaves it open. Anyways, hopefully this is goodbye. If not, well, I'll see y'all in 3 weeks for another update. Relevant comments. Comment 1, I don't understand why there is so much drama from Kay and her family. Like what the heck is happening that they feel the need to harass you? Have you presented a restraining order? OP, hi. I still don't feel a restraining order necessary as they really only keep people willing to listen away, and that's not really the case here. I plan to just avoid it, the police and courts handle it and forget it ever happened. Comment 2, this is going too far. What's wrong with that woman? And has her whole family gone insane? Not only are they harassing you but they're putting your family in danger. She's basically accusing them of abuse. It could damage their reputation but also put their job on the line depending on their fields. It's good that they are providing you with security but it's still not enough. Lily won't possibly be able to warn you every time that woman goes out of her house. In case she eventually finds your house and comes to threaten you, you should probably get cameras for your door to record everything. When you say she was kicked out, do you mean the school? Because I really hope your university realized how unhinged Kay's behavior has been and how unfit she is to start a career in this field. Not only does she lack common sense but she's also acting in a deranged manner. Targeting someone like that is not acceptable, especially not under the fake pretense of trying to help. Had you really been a victim of abuse, you would have probably been even more traumatized by this situation. OP. Hi, so yes, my house has cameras already, and Kay has been removed from school due to pending charges, and should they fully go through, she will never come back. Her access to everything has been suspended and she's basically already expelled. They are just awaiting charges to go through before they actually push the expulsion through. I fell in love with a married man while engaged to my fiancé of 6 years. Now I regret it and am trying to reconnect with my fiancé. We have been together 6 years now, and during the 3rd year of our relationship I cheated on him with a close family friend. I had started taking him for granted and it became easy to cheat because I didn't value the relationship. He broke up with me and we were split for months, and the times I was single I realized he is a great BF. I begged for him back and he took me back, but I had to promise to never speak to the guy again. I'm happy to say I never cheated since then and haven't been tempted at all. I understand how great of a partner I have. That being said, the guy I cheated on was a close family friend, and recently I rekindled our friendship behind his back. Nothing romantic. Have you ever met someone who is a terrible partner but a great friend? That's him. I hated the fact that I let a stupid mishap ruin our friendship. My fiancé found out and was angry. I apologized and we talked, and he needed space. He sent me a text of his demands to continue the relationship and I copied and pasted it. His text. After doing some thinking, I can't trust you. Whether it was platonic or not, this is the 2nd time that I know of where I have violated my trust. The hardest part isn't this, but now I have to wonder, how many times have you violated my trust or done something behind my back that I just don't know about? You claim this is it, but how can I believe you? I love you and want to work on this relationship, but it's going to require a lot from you. We are postponing our wedding indefinitely. When we first got back together, it took 10 months before I felt secure in the relationship again. I have no idea how long it will take to feel secure again. Eli, I changed the name, will be blocked on everything, and you're to never speak to him again. This now includes family events. If you know he will be there, do not attend. If you didn't know and he attends, you are to ignore him. I have unrestricted access to phones, social media, emails, etc. Every password I want to know for any device you have. No hanging out with male friends alone. You are to be home by 1 if you do go out with your homegirls. There will be more, but these are my demands and they aren't up for discussion. If you aren't willing to do it, then the relationship is over. Take your time to think about it. End of text. I called him, but he said he's not arguing with me about it and won't call him back until I decide what I want to do. I feel that this is extremely harsh considering the fact I didn't cheat this time. Ever since we got back together, I never cheated on him. OP believes that the punishment is too far. I think I was wrong. But I feel that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. I made a horrible mistake years ago. Being friends with someone doesn't equal sign cheating. Even though I was wrong for going behind his back. OP is convinced to follow her BF's rules. Okay, I'll do it. I just needed to make sure he wasn't going too far, but if this is what it takes to rebuild his trust. When commenters say that OP is on her way to cheat on her BF again, she claims, "You don't think I'll follow his rules? Good thing I don't let people tell me what I can't do. I'm going to be laughing when we work through this, get married and have kids." Update 1. We had a really great conversation and he was vulnerable and said it made him feel like I didn't value him. He was crying and it really hurt me to see the pain I caused him. He told me that please let's not go forward with this unless I can promise that I won't go behind his back again because he can't go through this pain again. I told him that I promise I will never hurt him again and will always be honest and upfront with him now. We talked about the rules and he said they will be temporary and will be adjusted when we go to couples therapy. Now it's time to put in the work to repair the relationship. I know it will be a lot of work, but I'm prepared. Update 2. So next month I'll get married this fall. I was with an amazing guy and we worked through a lot of issues together. I thought I loved him and I think I still do, but not in love with him. About 3 months ago at my job, we got a new coworker who is very handsome and extremely attractive. I mean, I have never been so physically attracted to someone in my life. We started to deepen our friendship, but romantic feelings came. I repressed mine, but to my surprise he confessed his feelings to me as well. I told him we gotta think about our spouses, but our feelings continue to grow. He told me he stopped being affectionate with his wife because he feels like he is cheating on me when he does that. He only wants to be affectionate with me. I've started doing the same thing and haven't been intimate with my partner. The big thing is a lot of people will be hurt when this comes out. He can't divorce his wife right away because of finances, but he will as soon as possible. I have to call off the wedding, but I really don't want to hurt my current fiancé. When asked about her previous infidelity, OP says, "I have cheated before and I'm starting to realize it's because I didn't understand being in love. With the guy I'm seeing, we both aren't romantic with our current partners. I don't want to be with anyone but him. Also, he's going to divorce his wife. We have a plan for when his finances get straight. How is she justifying this affair? This is completely different. The first time I cheated was because I was selfish. This time it was because I fell in love with someone else. I didn't choose this. No one picks who they love. This whole experience has taught me how complex love is and that I've never been in love before. This is so hard on OP. That's not fair. I didn't want any of this to happen. It breaks my heart that I'm going to have to call off the wedding, but he's a great guy and I'm certain he will find someone else. I wish I loved him or didn't fall in love with someone else. Because life is more complicated than that. I don't want to hurt him and have been thinking, oh, the best way to tell him. You guys act like this doesn't hurt for me too. You guys are not being understanding or empathetic. When commenters tell OP she's gullible about the married guy, she keeps emphasizing, I'm going to tell my fiancé. But we can't tell the other guy's wife yet. He's trying to get his finances in order first. Update 3. I took everyone's advice and decided to end things with my fiancé. This was the hardest thing I had to do in my life. I know you guys think I'm a terrible person, but this is an unimaginable situation to find yourself in. I want everyone to know how much this hurts. I really wish I didn't fall in love with someone else. I wish I could make myself fall in love with my fiancé, but I can't. It took me so long to accept this. I hope you guys can understand that I can't convey this enough, that I care about my ex-fiancé. I know this will be best for both of us, even though it's hard right now. When asked if OOP told her ex-fiancé the truth, she says, I didn't lie. I told him the truth, that I fell in love with someone else. I told him I still care about him. I keep telling you all that I care about him and would never use him as backup. He's a great guy and there's a woman out there who will love him and be lucky to have him. There's no reason we both can't be happy. When commenters tell OOP that there is no way the married man is going to leave his wife for her, she says, he is going to divorce his wife. Unfortunately, divorce is extremely complicated, but he said he will keep me updated. It's not just finances but a lot of other legal stuff. Since I wasn't married yet, it was easy to end things. For him it's a lot more complicated than that. When commenters continue to call OOP gullible, she says, no, I was very clear in our conversation today that I want this figured out by the end of the year. That's plenty of time for him to figure out finances and legal stuff. That way by 2025 we can just focus on each other. Update 4. I realize I treated my fiancé horrible and received my karma. My coworker and his wife are getting a divorce because she found out he was cheating with multiple women. Plural, he's a disgusting animal. He lied to me and others pretending that we were the only ones. I ended things with him. I'm glad he's been exposed. Now, regarding my ex-fiancé, I've taken the time to reflect and realize he's actually my true love. I hate that I hurt him. I reached out again to him, but he said he will always love me, but he's done with me. That was painful to hear. I just can't get over what my coworker did in destroying multiple relationships, including mine. It's painful to see and experience. Edit. I wasn't clear, but I take responsibility for my actions. Just because I'm condemning his disgusting and manipulative behavior doesn't mean I'm justifying my actions. My actions were horrible, but I've learned from them. Am I the A for leaving my boyfriend after nearly 2 years of dating because he bought lingerie for his best friend as a joke? My boyfriend, 28, and I, 24, have been together for a year and a half. I love him a lot, and he has been pretty amazing to me. He is also the sort of person who has lots of friends, and his close friends are pretty much family. He also loves to joke and play these harmless pranks on his friends, which sometimes makes me feel weird. Just for context, he has 2 female friends and 3 male friends. This is about my BF and one of his friends, Claire, 28. Claire is a nice woman and we are friendly. My boyfriend also has never ignored me in favor of his friends or talked over me in front of them. Which is why I don't understand if I'm in the right. They, my boyfriend's friends, had a recently escalated prank fight. I had made it clear to my BF that I am not good at jokes and am rather stiff, and he said he would keep me out of it. Claire, my boyfriend, and another friend, Kyle, 27, even had a huge throwing water balloons fight in Kyle's backyard. Then my boyfriend got pranked with dye in his body wash. Then Kyle got pranked by Claire, something about whipping cream and oven mitts. But the issue was when my boyfriend brought a red, lacy, lingerie set and he planned to put it in Claire's room the next time he went over. I said it was a tacky prank, and why would he buy lingerie? None of the previous pranks have been of this kind, and it makes me really uncomfortable. I also felt like if I was Claire, I would feel gross about it. But my boyfriend got mad and defensive and told me Claire is cool like that, and she would think it's funny. I admit, I get a bit weirded out when he calls Claire extremely beautiful and jokes about how she has always been way out of his league. But I thought it was nothing and they were like family, so I guess it was their thing. However, the lingerie prank had me put my foot down and I said that he was wrong to give another woman lingerie, no matter who, when he had a girlfriend. We fought, and I said I wanted to break up, which he didn't want to, and I said that I was just overreacting. He said that I was too conservative and needed to open my mind when he had never given me a reason to be insecure. Claire called me and said that she and my BF have been friends for a long time, and inside jokes are just that, and I'll learn with more age. I still feel weird about this. My best friend is supportive of me no matter what I do, but I have started to feel like I'm blowing this out of proportion. My boyfriend says that the fact that he told me and didn't hide it from me shows that I'm the problem. I have started to feel like I've blown this out of proportion and maybe it's my fault I can't take a joke. I really feel awful about this whole thing. AITA. Edit. The people asking what the prank is with the lingerie. Apparently, it's an inside joke about how during their college days she had some problems with the color red, and the lingerie would have just given her a shock of some kind, I guess. I told my boyfriend it was cruel, but he said it wasn't a trauma thing, just an inside joke. Claire also said over the phone that the lingerie thing was just an inside joke of their college days. Update. My inbox got flooded with DMs and had to turn off Reddit notifications. When I posted this, I was ready to be called immature and ridiculous and get a couple of comments, but it seemed like the post blew up, and the comments were kind of eye-opening. TBH, before all this fiasco, my BF has always been nice to me. Came with me to my grad school functions even though he found them very boring, but would do it so that I could network. He builds stuff like furniture and helps out with handiwork all the time. He is also very funny, and at the very beginning, I thought all his jokes were funny. And I sometimes wondered why he wanted to be with me. Plus, I was always busy with school and job interviews. His mom and I had even gotten close, and she has been saying how happy she was that we were together. I had always ignored his and Claire's weird dynamic because I told myself I was being insecure. I have male friends too, and I thought that just because we aren't like that, doesn't mean my BF and Claire can't be close. Claire has also never been outright mean to me. She was just aloof, and I thought it was because I was new to the group. To the actual update, my BF and I broke up. I'm sorry guys, but even after seeing so many replies on how he was cheating, I refuse to believe it. I'm still in love with this guy. And he called me, like half a day after I wrote this post, and asked to meet. I met him. And he said that he understood where I was coming from. But I was always too uptight to understand that friendship is friendship. He and Claire had known each other for years before I came into the picture, and I cannot expect him to just ruin their dynamic. I asked him what sort of dynamic was red lingerie. Why couldn't it be literally any other type of clothing? He told me he had it with my insecurities. And that he and Claire talked, and apparently I was making them sound like cheaters and homewreckers. And that he thought it was better I found someone like me, who thought the idea of a fun night was junk food and a movie indoors. That hurt a lot. He had always known I had insecurities about being called boring. He always complimented me on how his weaknesses were my strengths. Now he says things like this to me? Also, before this lingerie fiasco, I had never said a word about his and Claire's friendship. I always supported his pranks and practical jokes no matter my opinions on them because I thought it was his business what he did with his hobbies. And he leaves without even putting up a fight because his girlfriend didn't want him giving lingerie to the woman he constantly refers to as his sexy bestie. Claire didn't call or text after the breakup either. But Kyle did and said that he was sad that we broke up and he hoped I would be okay in the future. I asked him if my BF ever cheated on me. He said that my BF had only been a one-woman man when he was dating me, but he could understand that some women can't handle female best friends, especially if they look like Claire. I told him to fuck off and blocked him. It felt like he only wanted to gloat and hurt me because my BF left. I feel like I never knew these people. Claire and Kyle were always at least decent to me, if not nice. Did it make me a free target now that my BF has been telling his friends I'm an insecure child? I don't know what to do now. I have been told repeatedly by both my friends and sister that I dodged a bullet. But I have been breaking down like a kid again and again. I'm even thinking of going to therapy, after feeling the most insecure I've felt my whole life. Thank you to all who were supportive. It seems like my now ex-BF just did the work for me. My girlfriend asked for an open, poly relationship. I said no, and now she's acting strange. What should I do? My girlfriend, 28, and I, 26, have been in a relationship for 3 years and a few months now, but not long ago she started sliding in hints before telling me that she wants to try an open or poly relationship. She asked about this before at the start of our relationship, and I thought that I made it clear that I was monogamous and not interested in that. Now she's asking again and saying how we could both even share a girlfriend, or we could be open and hook up with whomever. I told her no and asked her why she was pushing this again. She said that it could be a way to spice up our sex life, and I said something like, okay, well, I'm not into that, you know that. So no go. She got agitated and said to just try it, which pissed me off, and again said no. This conversation happened over 2 weeks ago, and she still seems to be pissed off about it, not really talking to me and sleeping in the guest room. I've tried to get her to talk to me about it, but she just brushes me off and says that it's not important anymore. I've been venting to friends about it, and a few of my friends brought up that maybe she's already cheated or is cheating and is trying to cover it up, or maybe she has someone in mind that she wants to bang. I doubted it at first, but now I wonder because she has been a little more distant and just overall off, even before the whole open relationship talk. We haven't been having sex as often as we used to, but I chalk that up to it being because of my hectic work schedule. I'm not sure what to do. I'm afraid that if I start digging that I won't like what I find. Edit. I'm going to either snoop on her phone or confront her about it. I love her, but I also don't want to be played with. If she's hiding something, I will find out. From the comments. Comment 1. If you're afraid to dig because you don't like what you'll find, well, that's understandable. I would be too. But it's no good way to live. OP replies, true. I've been debating if I could sneak her phone really quick. Comment 2, she's either already having sex with someone else or has someone she wants to. Did you know she was bi before you started dating? OP replies, I'm bi and she's lesbian, or as much as I know. She said that she dated a boy in middle and high school but started dating girls in late high school, if my memory serves me right. Update. It's super late, but I'm numb, sobering up, and just can't fucking sleep. This fucking sucks, but I need to get this off my chest and out my head. So a few days ago I posted about how my GF of 3 years asked me for an open relationship or to try a poly relationship. I actually got to sit her down to talk the next day after posting about it and asked her why she brought it up again. She asked in the past, in the beginning of our relationship, after dating for so long. She repeated that she just wanted to spice up our love life, and I asked her, how would that spice things up though? The only one who's gonna find it sexy is you, because you know that I'm not into that. She said something about how I should be open-minded about it because so many people wish they had a partner like her that would be okay with them screwing other people. I said yeah, if they were into that then I'd get that. After a little more back and forth and talking in circles, I just said, listen, if you want to screw someone else then just say that. However, we'll be over. I love you, but if you want this then you should go be with someone that would give you what you want, cause I can't. I thought that she'd be a little remorseful or apologize or anything but what she told me. I assume she thought that I just broke up with her because she just got pissed and screamed out, oh so we're over? Fine. I've been screwing her guy friend. Anyways, and I'm pregnant. Yeah, my lesbian GF is fucking pregnant by a fucking friend of ours. My hands are shaking just thinking about this again. I tried to hold it together but I just couldn't, and I tried to kick her out but she wouldn't leave, so I left for a friend's place and have been here over the weekend. My now ex kept calling me but I only answered and told her to get her shit together and move out and go live with the douchebag, who I deleted and blocked because I would lose my shit on him at that time, then turned off my phone. I turned my phone back on this morning and my ex left messages. I called her, to get closure if anything, and asked her how long. She said since December when I went out of town. I asked if they fucked in my bed and she said yes. I asked if this was the reason for the open relationship BS and she again said yes. Lastly, I asked if she was planning to keep the baby and still stay with me, and she said yes. I just hung up. I've deleted and blocked her on everything for now because I just need to distance myself right now. I'm gonna see if I can break my lease on the APT we shared, because now that I know that they've been fooling around in there, I don't want it anymore. For now though, I'm just chilling at my friend's and will probably be here until I can get out of my lease. I have no more tears left. I can't tell if I'm in shock or emotionally broken. I took some time off work, but I don't know how I'll ever get back to normal after this. Thanks for the advice from my previous post. I'ma try to get some sleep now. From the comments, OOP is advised to get tested and change her passwords, etc. In addition, the question of how the baby was supposed to fit into a lesbian relationship is brought up several times. Comment 1, geez. She's a terrible person and you did the right thing pushing the issue. And I'm amazed and shocked that she thought you were going to be okay raising someone's baby. I'm so sorry you're going through this. OOP replies. Thing is that I love kids and she knows that. If, and a huge if, this was an accidental pregnancy due to us being open, I probably would have stayed. It's definitely different in this case, obviously. I still can't get over how freaking ridiculous this is. I honestly wish it was a joke. Comment 2a. I mean, what was the plan here? Surprise. I'm pregnant. Like, how did she think she was going to explain that one without outing herself as a cheater? Comment 2b. I guess the plan was let's be poly. Whoops, got pregnant but you agreed to being poly so you cannot be mad at me. OOP replies, honestly that's the only thing that makes sense to me. It was a dumb idea but I guess it would have worked in her head. Comment 3. You might want to get a lawyer and research how child support works in your circumstance. The last thing you want to do is pay for this child. OOP replies, yeah, I'm safe unless I magically started making sperm and grew a member. This actually made me laugh a little because she kinda tried to make me a baby daddy. Laugh to keep from crying as they say. New update. OP updates on her profile the 16th of August 2022, 1 month later. So first things first, thank you all for your support and advice. I really appreciate it. The good news that night I posted my last update, I definitely wasn't in a good headspace, but I allowed myself to grieve for a few days then got right to work. I went and got tested and I'm clean, no HIV or STDs, thank God. I went to my landlord and I told her the situation as well as had a formal letter typed up just in case. She's always been a nice lady and was kind enough to offer me a cheaper apartment that I could move into easily if I wanted to, but I decided to just move out of this complex. So I'll need to pay this month's rent, my ex won't pay her half so. Then my part of the lease will be officially broken. I don't know, or care to know, if my ex will break or take over the lease but that's on her. I've already got a place lined up and will be rooming with another close friend of mine. Bad news, it was about a day after I posted my last update that my ex just showed up to the friend's house that I was staying at. I don't know how she found out but we do have a pocket full of friends so it's not that hard. I was under the influence and numb and didn't want to see her but she kept pushing it and refused to leave. At first I came out and told her that we should talk outside, then I closed the door behind her. She still refused to leave so I stepped outside to talk to her, or she talked and I just stared at her. She started with apologizing and trying to put the blame on me being busy all the time, which, yeah, I was working a lot but every free time I had was spent with her. Then she said we weren't having enough sex, then saying that the sex meant nothing with the guy, and then somehow it took a turn to her saying that now we could start a family without a paid donor. I just remember going off on her and calling her out for screwing the guy repeatedly and then trying to cover it up with some bullshit. She started crying and yelling back but I told her to just go back to a baby daddy and tried to go back inside but she pulled on my shirt trying to stop me and I sorta pulled away hard to get away. About a day after that, my friend told me that she posted about how she left me for being abusive and that it drove her into the arms of the father of her baby, along with pics of them together apparently. The douchebag even tried to back her up on that bullshit but almost every mutual friend of ours knew what really happened by then and they absolutely blasted her until she took the post down. Goodbye and good fucking riddance to both of them. I only feel bad that the baby will have such immature parents. Other than that, I'll probably take some time to get away after settling down in my new place. I'm not gonna hold on to that pain anymore. I did love her with all my heart and thought she was my forever, but she betrayed me in a way that I could never imagine. She knew about my past relationship and promised to never hurt me the way my ex did. I guess she didn't lie about that since that ex never cheated on me, lied and manipulated, sure. I'm taking a break from love right now. Maybe I'll get a pet to start my healing journey from here. I had to protect my husband's niece from a pit bull attack while he ran off. I've been ignoring him since then. Should I forgive him for this? I'm going to start with this. I'm still a bit traumatized. I will be finding someone to talk to and a friend made this account for me because I am not a frequent user. I don't know if the pit bull made it. I haven't asked. My husband, his niece, nephew and I were in our backyard. I assume our gate was open. I can't remember. The pit bull came out of nowhere and latched onto his niece, 5F. My niece screamed. I turned and kicked it with all the force I could manage. I was lucky enough to hit it in the jaw somewhere that made its jaw dislodge. My husband, who had been a few feet away, shouted something like, "Whose dog is this?" I told him to get our bear spray from the house. I was in a panic. I am an animal lover, but it was so insane. The pit bull seemed almost rabid. In hindsight, I don't think it was. It wasn't foaming at the mouth, it was just crazed. My husband ran, but not towards the house. He literally ran out the fence gate and shut it behind him, not towards his niece or nephew, who was also present in an outdoor bassinet that I managed to toss onto the picnic table to make sure it was out of the dog's reach. While holding his niece over my shoulder, I put her on the BBQ to keep her out of reach. The dog was literally jumping and snapping, and I was worried that if I tried to carry her, I'm short, it would manage to grab her out of my hands. It chased me when I ran for the shovel, but then I swung at it. And I swung until it stopped. I don't think I will ever forget the sound or feeling. It was so high stress I didn't even realize that it had bitten me twice. I haven't spoken to him for a full week, even though we live in the same house. I didn't ask where he went. He only came back a few minutes later to pack us into the car and drive us to the hospital. He's getting angry that I'm giving him the silent treatment, but I feel like it's his fault that I had to possibly end that animal. If he had gotten the bear spray, I literally keep it in my purse in case I'm ever attacked by an animal or otherwise, then I don't think I would have needed to do what I did. It was literally just inside the door. He knows where I keep it. Instead, he took off to God knows where. Me and 2 children, that I'm not even related to, could have died. It might not even be relevant, but I don't even like kids. I am staunchly child-free, and he is the one who offered us up to babysit for the weekend. I don't know, is this grounds for divorce? I'm not sure I can even look at him. Any attraction I had to him is pretty much gone. He tried to touch me yesterday. Just to move me so he could pass, and I smacked his hand away without even thinking about it like he was some stranger at a bar because it was literally jarring. He's just been skulking around, trying to talk to me, then getting frustrated, then skulking more. I wasn't expecting him to be macho and fistfight the freaking dog, but at least follow instructions. At least not leave me in a life and death situation with a toddler and an infant. Should I be able to chalk this up to in the moment panic? I don't even know if I want to hear him out. Relevant comments. Commenter. If it makes you feel better, that dog would have been considered dangerous and put down either way. You defended yourself and the children from an unprovoked attack. You were so courageous and saved the kids' lives. Be proud of yourself. OP, I know that consciously, I think, but thank you for saying that because I just feel so terrible. Commenter, downvoted. He absolutely might do it again. Would you feel differently if he told you that he was bitten by a dog when he was small? And he just couldn't stop himself from running away? I'm not trying to excuse him. People have flaws, and you have to decide if you can tolerate them or not. OP. No, I wouldn't really. Seeing as I was attacked pretty badly by a dog when I was young, around 10, 11, I still have scars on my thigh. I still like dogs, and I would like to think I reacted appropriately in the situation. Those kids could have died. I could barely stomach explaining his niece's injuries to his sister. I was bawling, apologizing that I didn't do more. I can't imagine if something worse had happened. To a longer comment, we used to camp. I had trusted that he would be able to react appropriately. Also, he doesn't have any childhood incidents regarding animals that I know of. I actually do. I was attacked by a German Shepherd pretty badly, but I still like dogs. Commenter, downvoted. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Everyone reacts differently to treat stress. In the middle of a crisis, some people panic and cannot follow instructions or even hear instructions. They're just in flight or freezing. These reactions aren't really something we can control. I mean, you don't even like kids, and your instinct was to protect and fight. I'd talk to him about it. OP. I'm trying to. I keep telling myself to try and then I see him and I remember him freaking running. I don't know if I want to be with someone whose reaction is flight at all. Even if it comes naturally. One more thought from OP. If his niece and nephew had died, I just don't think anyone would give a damn about his instincts. That's the thing, because they could have. Why should he have to protect you? Would you protect him? I expect us to protect each other, I guess is what I mean. I didn't expect him to take one for the team. I expected him to have my back. Update. My friend said that people update often, but I don't know how to attach it to the other post. I thought I'd update since a few things have happened. Sorry if this is needlessly long. I didn't expect this to get so many comments and kindnesses. I want to say I'm so sorry to everyone who has experienced anything similar because, my God, it has not been easy. For everyone worried about my mental health, I got an appointment through an app with my work yesterday because I decided I really needed it and labeled it high priority. However, it felt like just a preliminary meeting. She said she wanted to get me feeling a bit more comfortable because I was visibly tensing up whenever I started talking about it, and she even noticed it through the video chat. Last night, I also told my husband I needed space. I apologize that I don't have more of an update on our relationship than that. I wasn't as nice as I wanted to be, he argued and didn't want to leave, it's my house, but I told him I just didn't want to look at him, that I couldn't look at him. He cried, and I hate that I felt apathetic towards it. I haven't slept well, so I'm not sure if I'm just overtired and still so shaken. I was also emotionally exhausted after the appointment, so that might have added to it. I got a few questions about his sister and her husband, so I thought I'd answer. They aren't speaking with him. I don't know when it happened. I was definitely out of it at the hospital while I was getting the stitches and everything, but I do think after I was done blubbering and trying to explain how something so terrible happened to their little girl under our watch, they apparently asked him where he was. I still haven't talked to him about where he went, so I don't know. However, it clearly didn't satisfy them. His niece just got out of the hospital yesterday, so that really triggered everything and a lot happened. I had sent flowers, a bear, and this one toy she'd been asking about. I didn't go to the hospital though. I was scared seeing me would make her nervous. But his sister and her husband sent me flowers too, and it made me bawl again. I'm just a freaking mess, honestly. The father sent me a long message that I haven't been able to get through, but it's the sweetest thing anyone's ever sent me. He also sent me a $1,000 Visa card. I literally thought I was reading the amount wrong. They are good people, and I still feel terrible that I couldn't have done more for her. Everything's just replaying in my head. Anyway, I obviously haven't looked into filing yet, but I am not against the idea of it, and it really did help me feel better about wanting a divorce over this. I know fight or flight can't be helped, but now I think I realize that it's okay not to want to be with someone who would leave you behind. I think I can say I'm a fighter, and I want a fighter with me. Maybe he'd be better off with a runner instead too. Then he at least wouldn't be leaving someone behind. I don't know. It feels like I'm done. But I'm also just a mess, so right now I'm just glad I have space. Thank you to everyone for making me feel like I wasn't being ridiculous. I think it always feels like there should be multiple issues that tear a marriage apart, unless it's infidelity or something, and it's like I know he may not have meant to betray me, but he still did. Whatever his reasoning. Not sure when I'll be speaking to him, but I will try to update then. Relevant comments. Commenter, I'm so sorry you went through such a horrible experience. It sounds like the parents are thankful you protected their children at risk to your own safety. I know I'd never be able to repay you if they were my kids you protected. I'm glad you have gotten the therapy ball rolling. I wish you and your niece a speedy recovery. That little girl is always going to know how you saved her, and I'm sure you'll always be her aunt, regardless of whether you stay in your marriage or not. I'm so proud of you. OP. They're good people. His message was really soothing to read because I still feel guilty about how badly hurt she was from that initial bite. But she's home now, and I'm glad. I don't know how it works with children and therapy because she's so young, but I hope they get her some. Commenter, downvoted. I read the original post and I understand you. The man doesn't have a masculine bone in his body. Doubt he will ever be a protector. You are in a tough spot and hopefully things get better. OP, I don't need him to be a protector, just to have my back. Which I thought he did, but now I don't believe he would do that anymore. OP's support system. I have a decent support system. Though my family isn't close by, they've been messaging and video chatting with me a lot. Hours-long group chats. I think my mom has been trying not to give too much of her opinion on my relationship though. She was more focused on making sure I knew how to clean my wound and finding counseling, etc. She's a former nurse. Meth-addicted sister stole my identity and opened 4 credit cards in my name. What are my options for getting my credit score back up? Like the title says, my sister, who is addicted to meth, opened several credit cards in my name and maxed them all out quickly. They were mainly used at grocery stores and Target Walmart. I discovered this when I was served a court summons last week at my apartment. Upon checking my credit report, because I suspected a mistake, I found several unrecognized accounts and a collection account. The total debt was just over $15,000, all accrued around August to September of last year. The accounts were registered at my sister's address, which is an attached apartment at my parents' house. I immediately informed my parents about the situation, and they promised to talk to my sister. A few days later, they mentioned they were considering rehab for her as she had confessed to her meth addiction. A friend in law school advised me that involving the police was the only way to save my credit unless I wanted it ruined for years. When I relayed this to my mom, she asked me to delay involving the police and suggested a family discussion instead. Yesterday, I visited my parents' house and talked with them and my sister. She apologized for opening the accounts and admitted her addiction. She revealed she obtained my social security number from an old tax form and used the credit cards to buy gift cards and household items to trade for meth. She mentioned she was using less and considering rehab. When I shared my friend's advice, my mom urged me not to involve the police. She proposed that I cover the debt over time and that my sister could repay me when she was able, implying an uncertain future about the repayment. Knowing how drug addictions typically go, I am skeptical about the when turning into a never. While I want my sister to overcome her addiction, my credit score, now in the high 400s, is a barrier to buying a house when my lease expires next year. I explained the dire impact of the situation on my financial goals to my parents. They understood, but their solution to pay off the debt didn't address the various negative marks on my credit, like the 90-day late notices, closed accounts, collection actions, and the court summons. They asked me to consider their offer to not involve the police, emphasizing her need for rehab over jail. This morning, my dad reiterated their understanding of my frustration but pleaded for a second chance for my sister. They even proposed buying a house for me, which I would pay back, contingent on not reporting my sister's actions. I am torn. While I agree she needs more help than punishment, her actions involved multiple crimes using my identity. The potential offer from my parents for a 0% interest rate home loan is tied to accepting the financial loss myself. What should I do? I wish to recover my credit score, but I must also consider the human element involved. Update. A few days after my original post, I decided to file a police report, notifying my parents beforehand. Initially, not much happened, but filing the report helped clear my credit report, boosting my credit score by about 270 points, clearing all negative marks. I briefly spoke with an investigator, who was informed that I hadn't lost any money and my credit was restored. He advised continued vigilance on my credit. Shortly after, my mother angrily called me, upset that my sister was going to jail, accusing me of being heartless for reporting her while she was trying to get help. Despite talking about rehab, my sister never took actual steps towards it. She confessed everything to the investigator and was arrested at my parents' home, spending just one night in jail before being released with a court mandate for supervision, restitution, and mandatory rehab, probably the best outcome under the circumstances. My parents are likely to cover the restitution, but my mom lashed out at me, leading to my exclusion from our family's July 4th celebration, claiming it would be hard for my sister to see me. As I plan to buy a house this fall, I am now ensuring that no new issues appear on my credit report. Given the circumstances, I'm considering moving far from my family. I found out that my mother and my fiancé had been having sex for the past few years, leading up to the birth of my younger brother. My fiancé, 25, and myself, 24, have been together since we were 17-18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I have always had a good relationship with my mom. It has always been her and I against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joke that we are the real-life Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. My mom dated guys on and off and they were usually cool but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago my mom told me she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old and although she was sort of dating someone recently, didn't meet the guy but knew she went on dates, it still was a big shock. She never thought she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young, an oopsie, and I can tell she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her, since she has always supported me and tried to reassure her. She then had my brother who is now 3 years old. I have a close relationship with my brother. I have helped take care of him since he was born and I just love the little guy. My fiancé was also always helpful with my brother. We would take him out for ice cream, playground, pool time during summer, etc. But nothing was weird. He was just my then BF spending time with my brother and I. Now to how I found out. My fiancé and I have been living together since we finished college. He was not at home because he was hanging out with friends, but I stayed home because I didn't feel like going out and just wanted to relax on the sofa. At some point during binge watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died, and I was too lazy to get my charger, so I used my fiancé's iPad instead. I know the password but had never used it before. The iPad logged in, and I received a bunch of message notifications. I guess he hasn't used it in a while either. Anyway, this got my attention, and I went to check it out, and of course, I found everything. My mom's number wasn't saved under her name, but I recognized it and verified it with my phone. She was telling him she felt guilty and that I should know. He said he also felt guilty but couldn't lose me and that they messed it up. She said it was unfair for my brother to never know his dad and asked if he could live having his son around, not behaving like a dad but as a brother-in-law. I broke down. What the actual F? There weren't a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. I couldn't anymore. I cried for what seemed like ages and I waited for my BF to come back home. I wish I was one of those women that can pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night, around 23:30, and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation opened and saw his face completely go pale. I asked for an explanation. When? How? Why? And he didn't want to at first, but knew he had to. Apparently a few years back while I was traveling with some friends, girls trip, my fiance and mom had dinner together. This isn't strange since he has been part of the family for so long. Sometimes mom and fiance would eat together at our place even if I was busy with sports or out. I did the same with his parents. Somehow, unclear how since he couldn't explain it well, one thing led to another and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty but apparently not guilty enough. BC they slept together 2-3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently when my mom got pregnant they stopped sleeping together and decided to not tell me, since my fiance loved me and couldn't lose me, and my mom didn't want to lose her daughter. So here we are now, with two of the most disgusting humans. I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again and move in with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I can't be around him now, I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids. I would be his baby mama, only baby mama. We talked about this future since we were 17 years old, so I want to puke every time I think how I was actually taking care of his child with someone else, while still having those dreams. I want to puke. Editor's note. Comments were mostly supportive, with a few telling their own stories of cutting parents off and a couple with tales of spouses sleeping with parents. How is this even a thing? People are crazy. Update 1, to the update. As I was afraid, I was indeed confronted near my office this week. I knew this was coming but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, Wednesday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering waiting around. I thought about running. Not gonna lie, but I guess in the moment I felt strong enough to get over it, instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again. He asked if we could talk and I said yes, but I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous, so I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely. Felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times and that I deserved better. I agreed. He said he did love me and that he still does, but he would understand why I wouldn't want anything to do with him. He said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance that he would go to therapy, alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible. There was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment things came out more with louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he is in the or will be, it was a bit of a blur, process of getting custody, partly, from my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he does not want to be together with my mom, that it was just a stupid mistake. Sure, BC 4-5 times is just a random thing. He couldn't explain why he did it in the first place. I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before. He said no, not sure if to believe it, but he sounded honest. I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed he always felt panicked and it hit him that he could lose me and he just didn't want to. I told him it was meant to be found out, that what was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore their relationship forever? He said he didn't think far enough and that he was basically going with the idea one day at the time. I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him. He said it was mutual, which made me want to puke again. I asked if he has had any contact with my mom since I found out. He said yes, but mostly about my brother, didn't elaborate more, and I didn't press for more info on that. He said he told his parents the day before, or the day before that, not sure, Tuesday, about everything. The parents were not happy, but they are glad to start building a relationship with my brother, their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach. I don't know why. The parents wanted to contact me, but he told them to wait till he approached me first, hence why he was here. I said if he started or thought about the custody before I found out, and he said no, but when I found out was like the push he needed. Great. Seems I helped him get his shit together. And this past week he was arranging all of that mess, that's why he hasn't tried to see me before. He sounded and looked defeated, but the whole thing made me, besides sad, angry. I was mainly depressed before, but now I'm furious. I feel like he is still in an okay place and he isn't paying for his actions, beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents and others and move on with his life. While I lost everything. I hate him. We parted ways not on a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again. I was done. He asked me to see my brother still, That I was important to him and tried to guilt trip me and it worked, but I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom and really hope she doesn't come find me anytime soon because I'm fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I will be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think it is about time, and after my talk with him, I got the extra push I needed. Editor's note. Top comment suggested moving to Australia. Can't fault that line of thinking. Update 2. A lot has happened. I did the blasting, and this is how it went down. I first posted on my family's FB group we share. This is from my mom's family side. I used inspiration of what you all suggested in my last post and said something around the lines of, I want to communicate to you all that my wedding with X has been permanently cancelled, since I found out that my mom, name, and my ex, name, had in the last few years a sexual relationship which resulted in the birth of my little brother, name. I had no clue of any of this, and I found out about it last week. I won't have a relationship with, name, mom, and ex, name, for obvious reasons. I would appreciate your understanding, and I felt it was only fair to let you know of the situation, since I value transparency and honesty above all. I also included a screenshot of my mother's message, what I said to her once I found out, and a message she managed to write back before I blocked her. Didn't open the message till before the blasting. I didn't want to read her and be persuaded. It exploded. I had family reaching out via text and calling the whole day after the blasting. I would say most were very supportive, and I could tell they were just shocked. There were a few neutral and some suspicious that it wasn't the whole story and maybe I misunderstood. My grandparents were in the maybe you misunderstood category, which wasn't surprising since my mom is super close to my grandparents, and like I said before, my mom was always a good mom. So no red flags. I will be moving with a cousin that is more like a sister to me. I haven't reached out to her previously because I knew once she knew everyone would. That's why I went to my friend's place. My cousin is devastated on my behalf and offered to live with her and her 2 kids until I can get my feet on the ground. I accepted and will be moving next week. I'm a bit afraid this will give my mom an easier access to me, but I can't stay at my friend's place forever. I then proceeded quickly to post a similar message for my, we share most of our friends since high school and local university, friends on Instagram. I created a close friends story and tagged most of them too. This went sort of viral in our friend group. Actually, one of my friends sent me my Reddit post and asked if this was me. I confirmed. They were also shocked and speechless. They never thought my ex would even remotely do anything like this. They said he was crazy about you. Oh well, apparently he went overboard on the crazy part. The group of friends is divided ATM, some are completely on my side, and some are thinking it isn't the whole truth. I told everyone that reached out that if they don't believe me to ask their friend if he is asking for custody of my little brother. That kinda shut them up for now. My ex deleted his social media. Also, my ex's parents called me like I guessed they would. They were kind to me and were very sorry about everything. I got the feeling they are also overwhelmed and very disappointed. However, it was clear they will be supporting their son. They are very upset at my mother, and don't want anything to do with her, but not sure how that will work with my little brother and everything else. They tried to give me info about the custody and what is my ex up to now, but I shut that down quickly and told them I don't want any info, I want to move on. I also asked them to not reach out in the near future, that I needed distance, especially if they will be supporting my ex. He is living with his parents ATM. Also, my ex and my mother after the blast were going nuts trying to reach out to me. They tried calling my friend, who she blocked them, and reaching out from different numbers. I had to put my phone on silent and ignore everyone. However, my mother sent me a long text, from another number, and that was a weird text. She said that I was being cruel and that she didn't think she raised me that way. She said she thought we had a better relationship than me blasting out laundry like that without talking to her first. That I didn't have the whole picture. She did mention something that confused me. She said in her long-ass text, that the reason she slept with my ex, is because he reminded him of my dad. That it was grief. That she didn't mean to use him to heal her pain, but she wasn't strong enough. I don't even know what that means. Like, did she think that my ex looks physically like my dad? Or personality? Or what? I have seen photos of my dad, and well, yeah, my ex isn't super different but also not super alike. I mean, they share brown dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. But that's not so uncommon. I don't see what else. I don't know. That threw me for a loop and honestly makes me want to confront my mom just to know what the hell. From all the things she could say, I was not expecting that. I'm holding on better, I don't cry every hour or want to murder them. But I'm still sad and upset, and it just feels like it isn't my life. That it is a big joke or a bad dream and I will wake up to my normal life. I also need to really start planning my future and start applying for jobs in other cities. Or maybe check the possibilities abroad more seriously. I might ask for 2-3 days off work to really get my thoughts together and do some research. I'm terrified tbh. I feel frozen, but I know I need to start moving. Editor's note: this one has some funny comments. Commenter 1, that mom is hilarious. I thought I raised you better. I never in a million years thought you'd fuck my boyfriend, but here we are. Commenter 2, my petty ass would be sending her that. Commenter 3, right. The irony of her blaming you for airing laundry when she did that. Commenter 4, the laundry wouldn't be dirty if you hadn't fucked my boyfriend on it. I was sick to my stomach when I discovered my wife's secret Google account, which contained hundreds of photos of my ex-girlfriend. I, 36, met my wife Bailey, 33, 9 years ago through mutual coworkers, and we hit it off immediately. I fell absolutely head over heels with this woman. She was everything I was looking for. I had gotten out of a toxic, dare I say abusive long-term relationship right before that with a woman Bailey had been acquainted with, but not friends with. I had her blocked on everything and had no contact with her since breaking up. We got married right after the tail end of the pandemic, bought our first house together, and started trying to conceive. That was difficult because Bailey has PCOS, but last year she finally gave birth to our first daughter. I'm having a blast being a dad. It's kind of a dream come true. I finally got my happy life with my perfect wife. My perfect wife. Until last Monday. My laptop's battery hit the bed, so I opened up Bailey's work tablet with an attached keyboard. You can set it up like a monitor, to check on some tax stuff. She wasn't home, it was just me and the baby, but we've never asked permission to use each other's devices. We've always been open like that. There's nothing for us to hide. That's what I thought. When I opened up the internet, I noticed she had the incognito tab open. Never in a million years did I expect to discover what I did. My wife has a secret Google account with a photo album saved called XX. So I clicked on it. Did I discover an affair? Nudes? Nope. In this Google album were over 300 photos, 348 actually, of my ex. The woman I was with right before I met Bailey. The woman who tormented me and made me feel worthless. The album said it was started back right around the time Bailey and I started dating, and was updated as recently as 2 weeks ago. The photos range from candid shots with family, to pictures at her work functions. There were even pictures from her yearbook. I don't know how Bailey could have found her high school yearbook photos. Photos from vacations, Idaho photos from work. Pictures of her in crowds, screenshots of videos and screen recordings of videos. Just her. The other people in the photos would be scribbled out, or the photo would be cropped and zoomed in just on my ex. There were other disturbing things I found too. There was another album with just zoomed up pictures of my ex's hair. Come to think of it, Bailey had recently started wearing her hair different and my ex had a very identifiable hair type. There was another album with screenshots of comments on social media. Of course I can't find them because I have her blocked. Like, Facebook groups she's in and public posts. And my ex is very low-key on social media. I can't imagine the lengths Bailey went to find them. My ex literally lives in another country now. There were also different links to the exact outfits she was wearing, like very specific blouses and trousers you'd have to really go looking for to find. A specific water bottle I remembered purchasing, and identical hiking boots and sandals. So basically, my partner of almost a decade has been a single white female. My girlfriend has secretly stalked her to the point of buying her exact clothes and changing her hair, and now I'm starting to realize Bailey's new interests over the years were just my ex's. Bailey has turned herself into my ex. Everything feels like a lie. Our love feels like a lie. The things we share feel like a lie. I threw up and had a panic attack. I looked at our daughter and felt betrayed. I haven't confronted her yet. I don't know if I want to. I want to run away with our daughter. I want to print out all her pictures, leave them on the table and disappear. I don't know what to do, I just want to throw up. Relevant comments. Shmai. Holy cow. That definitely is alarming. The best thing to do is address it now to see what'll change if she no longer has someone to replicate. The toxic side of me would slowly start mentioning things like, you know, you really do remind me of someone. And nonchalantly bite into an apple and walk away. OP, I feel like what's worse is that she's subtly made these changes over time under my nose. So my ex has a specific career and Bailey didn't express interest in switching careers to the exact same thing until after I had mentioned what my ex did. Didn't notice at the time, but I remember telling her ex went to school for that. The hair was more recent, the outfits and objects, slowly over time. The interests, I'm not sure how much she's stolen personality-wise from my ex and what she actually likes. It's all incredibly exhausting and confusing. Miss_chapstick. I'm so sorry, this sounds like something out of creepypasta. OP, I'm actually surprised with the amount of support I've gotten here in the last hour, haha. Believe it or not, there are no other red flags in our marriage. Now I don't know what else I've missed. OP added. While I talked about my ex, most of the things I told my wife about were negative and painted her in not such a good light. My wife knows these things and knows they were traumatic. Of course, I've mentioned things like what she does for a living and things she used to do. I think everything else she found she got through intense cyberstalking through my ex's friends and family. The yearbook photos, I have no idea. Edit, removed specific info so I don't accidentally dox myself. Update. I'm pretty sure I accidentally got my original post removed just now because I tried to update it with a link to my update. Oops. Anyway, I'm the guy who found the Google Drive full of pictures of my ex. So, I was not expecting my original post to go viral on YouTube and TikTok, and have so many responses. Yikes. I am overwhelmed by the support. I am humbled by the number of people who have been through this experience, on both sides. I have an update, but it's probably not as exciting and as juicy as you want. It's not bad though. First, let me clear things up. If people think this post is fake because it doesn't make sense, or our trying to conceive timeline is short, or the way I worded things makes it look like a teenager or woman wrote it, continue to think that because it means I've successfully been vague enough and worded things to not accidentally dox myself. Believe this is a creative writing exercise, so I don't embarrass myself. For real. No, I didn't actually throw up. I was in the middle of a panic attack. Private browsing. Tabs were open to the websites with clothing and objects, another tab was signed into Google Photos. When I exited the Google Photo tab to look at the websites with clothing and came back, it was already signed out and I couldn't get back in. A lot of the clothing I recognized wasn't because I remembered my ex wearing them. There were more recent pictures of her in the file wearing them, and I remember the day Bailey bought the water bottle that also happened to be in the folder, the hair. Bailey and my ex are the same race and my ex wore braids in a particular way. Not so particular that it's exclusive to my ex, because Bailey has also worn different braids, but seeing pictures of her made me put two and two together. Is there any way Bailey could have gotten with me in an attempt to get to my ex? Was Bailey possibly obsessed with my ex before she met me? Probably not, because Bailey grew up here and my ex originally moved here for university. And while you can drive across the border, it's not that easy and I don't think Bailey was going back and forth to stalk her in person. Also, the reasons why my ex and I broke up have nothing to do with Bailey and she could not have had any involvement. On to the actual update. The next day when I had calmed down I called several social workers and therapists. I was planning to confront her there. Unfortunately, the only places that take our insurance did not have an opening for another couple weeks. So despite what a lot of you think, I've known my wife for nearly a decade and even while I was confused and upset and doubting things, I didn't think she'd be a danger to me. We took the baby to grandma's and I asked her to go for a walk with me. I did not beat around the bush and straight up told her I found the folder. Her face got very red and she was frozen, but also tried to play dumb at first. I was persistent and she started crying and begged me not to leave her. This is what I uncovered. Bailey first started looking up my ex out of curiosity. To keep tabs, I guess? But over time it became more pathological. It's like she got addicted to it, but she also wanted to please me. Okay, maybe I talked about my ex a lot more than I thought, and Bailey wanted to emulate the good parts. She told me she really doesn't know who she is, and my ex's image was something she latched onto because she had me first. Finding information about her became a game. Finding the clothing and objects became a game, by searching things like, blue water bottle green stripe, until the couple compared the product to a photo and found the exact one. The reason why I couldn't find the post wasn't because I had blocked my ex, but because my ex had made a new Facebook under a different name. Bailey found her profile by searching up a family member. She made fake social media and added enough mutual friends until she could see my ex's posts, and until her private Instagram accepted her. She weaseled her way into her exercise Facebook group, where the videos were posted, and searched her school on a yearbook website to find the yearbook pictures. Over time she just collected the images and would get excited to find something new, despite the fact that my ex is extremely private on social media. The folder had originally been called Hex the Ex. In case I discovered it, she was going to make the excuse of saving the pictures to put a hex on her. When she made a burner Google account, she deleted the old folder and named the new one XX. Then she got sloppy and comfortable, and that's right around the time I just happened to open the work tablet. We took a break. It was a while. We made it to couples counseling, and Bailey and I also began seeing separate therapists. She still has not had an assessment with a psychiatrist, but it's on the list. She promised to stop and deleted the album in front of me. Slowly, certain clothing items began to disappear from the closet. I still do not entirely trust her, and that is for me to work on. I'm afraid she has another secret account somewhere, like a backup. The physical mimicking is actually stopping though, including the hair change. We're still not okay. I want us to be okay, and it's okay if that takes time. If we end up not being okay, then that's something I have to deal with. What I do know is that my wife is incredibly insecure, probably mentally ill, and is misled. I don't really want to walk away from that. Although this probably isn't the most exciting update, I appreciate the private messages I just couldn't get back to, Reddit cares, and links to resources. I'm not sure how I feel about social media, YouTube and TikTok picking up on my story though. That's wild. Until next time, if I ever give another update, I hope it's a good one. Relevant comments. Biscuit Brown, the outcome does not look positive. Why stay in a one-sided relationship? At least put a plan together that runs concurrently so you're prepared should it not work out. Seek legal advice, prepare evidence, and don't do anything stupid. At least then you will be in a better place, either way. OP, a plan is something I'm still having trouble coming up with. And it's been a couple months. I think I'm afraid to make a plan. Does that make sense? I found out my daughter is pregnant. Am I a bad mom for refusing to raise the soon-to-be-born child of my non-binary daughter? My daughter came to me at 16 and said she was non-binary, but only sometimes. Like, some days she would feel more male than female and some days she would feel like neither. She wanted me to ask her every day what day it was and then refer to her as that pronoun of the day. I told her that wasn't going to fly. Growing up I spent a lot of time on LJ, LiveJournal, during the Olban Self and Zen Self Seer Self days. People who think this is new to this generation are fooling themselves. I told her that I would call her the pronoun she wanted and do my best to remember it day to day, but she was going to have to tell me what she wanted for that day. I wasn't going to play a daily guessing game. This went on for about a week or two until she finally seemed to grow tired or bored and just said I could call her her. Though she still identifies as non-binary. Fine. At least when it was going on she wanted she, he, or they. I'm sorry but I couldn't have done fox self/fox them with a straight face. So that's the pronoun story and looking back where I think things started to go off the handle. Here's my real question. My daughter is now 18, pregnant, and seems to have lost her goddamn mind. Or I'm an asshole. You choose. This year has been a struggle. She wanted to take a break year before she goes to community college, but can't keep a job. Apparently, retail situations are too phobic against her non-binary state. My child looks/acts/dresses exactly as a young adult female BTW. When I ask how people are being phobic against her, she gets as prickly as a cactus, so I really don't know the details. She's been through 4 or 5 jobs this year, quit all of them. She won't consider call centers that aren't face-to-face because she doesn't like to talk on phones, and is apparently looking for a remote job without any luck. She's been unemployed since Thanksgiving. She quit her last job on Black Friday, in fact, and I was on the verge of laying down the law, telling her she either needs to go to school this upcoming semester full-time or get a full-time job or move out with her friends. But now she's come to me and she's 5 months pregnant. She's very angry at me, says it's my fault because I didn't put her on puberty-blocking hormones when she came to me 2 years ago. She believes I'm in fact trying to feminize her by getting her birth control. The pill. She's been throwing her prescription away. This is where I might be the asshole. I called her a little idiot. We don't use that sort of language in my house, and I never call people names, especially my own child, but at that moment I could just see red. The hormone thing is a non-issue IMO because this is the first time I ever heard of her wanting hormones. What was I supposed to do? Go back in time? As for birth control, it's also the first time I'm hearing anything about this. There are non-pill options that don't have estrogen. If that was her want, all she had to do was ask and I would have driven her to the doctor myself. Or she could have taken the car she has and done it. She has her own medical card even. Though to be fair, I don't know how she would have managed the copay without a job. I know for a fact her old high school gave out free condoms like candy because her friends were always giggling over flavored sample packs, and even blew a few of them up like balloons and left them around the house one time. She had all the birth control she could ever want and used none of it. It gets worse. We're way past the date of abortion. Again, I would have helped her if this had been her wish. We live in an abortion-protected state and can afford it. She's known she was pregnant for about 2 months and has come to think of her baby like a sibling. She expects me to raise it like it was mine. That this is my duty, in fact, because she says it is my refusal to accept her non-binary state that led to her being pregnant. So she was going to get a brother or sister and I was going to have another child. You can say my language grew, sterner to versions of get your head out of your ass, and congratulations mommy, you have some hard decisions to make, and I said I would absolutely not raise her baby for her. She also refused to say who the father was. Now that I've cooled down, I'm really hoping she has a secret boyfriend. She does have some friends who were born male, but now also don't identify that way. We didn't even get there as I lost my mind when she said she thinks of her own baby as a sibling and wants me to raise it like my own child. She's locked herself in her room loudly wailing, I feel like crap warmed over. She's been in there for 12 hours, and as she has an attached bathroom, probably won't be coming out until she gets hungry. Considering it's been half a day, I think she has snacks stored. I also don't know where to go from here. Being pregnant sucks and messes with your head, so I'd like to blame that and the fear she must be feeling, but I have the bad feeling I either raised a spoiled brat or someone with an emerging personality disorder. So I need to know from people who aren't emotionally involved, and maybe some people who are more in tune with this whole non-binary thing than I am. What do I do to help while also making her responsible for her own child? How can I help my daughter except she must do basically the most feminine thing you can do, give birth and possibly breastfeed, while being sensitive that she's non-binary? Am I just a big asshole here? Typing all this out, it feels like my daughter is lost in a crazy town. I'm still not raising her baby, but at what point do I drag a legal adult to the hospital? Edit. You might disagree with my choices or wording, but I'm reporting people who call this bait. It's not. Edit 2. It's the middle of the night and she has decided to pack some of her clothes and stay with one of her friends. One who I suspect is the baby daddy. Before she left, she told me that she already called the police and let them know that she was leaving of her own free will and was not in danger. Like I was going to report an 18-year-old adult as a runaway or something. It was insulting. I told her she needs to work out details if she wants to adopt with the father, and she was welcome back home when she had a plan in place. It was short because I heard her on the way out. I think she just meant to leave without saying anything. Thank you for your kind comments and advice, Reddit. I'm going to sleep. Commenters agreed that OP's child wasn't thinking straight. Comment 1. I hate to say this, but I sincerely hope OP's daughter chooses to give up this baby for adoption, because she's a confused hot-ass mess. I don't blame OP for not wanting to step on the crazy train and raise this baby. Comment 2. Let's be honest, if OP says yes to raising this child as her own, it will be the first of several. Daughter won't take BC, so she will continue to have unprotected sex and get pregnant. She decided a couple years ago that she's NB, expected her mother to understand that and know everything about it, and is now rewriting history to blame her mom for her now being pregnant. My head is swimming, and she's not my daughter. There will be more babies. Comment 3. You are so NTA. I feel sympathy for your kid because they sound like they are so confused, maybe have body dysphoria and are now facing a life-altering situation with no way out. They must feel so trapped. So they turn on you. It's easier for them to yell at and blame you instead of accepting responsibility. They are looking for a way out. We all keep changing and growing, and your kid is so young they seem to not know who they are yet, and now they have to face looking after a baby when they know deep down they can't even really take care of themselves. But my God, the thing they did that was really stupid was chucking BC away. That is actually wild. Your kid needs to learn the difference between gender-enforced stereotypes and actual biology. With biology, it unfortunately doesn't matter what gender you are, the biology doesn't care, it still works the same. They need to learn that and differentiate. Like I said, NTAOP, what a shit situation. I hope it gets better. I really do. Comment 4. NTA. Your child is in fact a little idiot, with behavior that would be an absolute nightmare had you not been their parent. Also, birth control isn't a form of feminization, it's a form of responsibility when you're born in a body with a uterus and want to have sex that can result in pregnancy. OP's response, I wish I had those words when she hit me with that one. I sort of sputtered for a few minutes. Comment 5. Oh man, this is a can of worms within itself. I wish I had better advice, but I feel for you in the position you're stuck in. The only thing I can think of is, referring to breastfeeding as chest feeding, might make your NB daughter accept it more. But there's a whole other level of things you need to get through first. First and foremost, therapy, ASAP for your kid. Because she needs to get her head sorted out. Assuming you will just take this kid and raise it for her is problematic to say the least. And she's got a deadline coming obviously, so therapy ASAP. Also appointment for pregnancy checkups ASAP. Has she had any? An unmonitored pregnancy can lead to complications. You might also be able to get her a social worker to go through pregnancy checkups, birthing extra. Your kid needs a big sit-down conversation about accountability for your own actions. And about how she might feel like part of your actions lead to this. There was also many choices she could have made to prevent this, that she chose not to. And at the end of the day, it was her choices that led to this, not you. OP's response: thanks for this tip. I've written it down. The reason I mentioned she was NB because using breast instead of chest is the exact type of thing to send her into a pissy fit when she's in the wrong mood. I know this may sound like a little thing, but she's always been, well, dramatic. Because it's the internet and things are anonymous, I'll admit that I am absolutely dreading pregnancy and afterbirth mood swings. Especially since it will all involve very womanly things in every intimate way. On top of the sheer stress of a newborn? Yes, I'm not looking forward to it at all and am already preparing to endure the storms. Our conversation wasn't productive. It was an argument and she's still not out of her room, but I don't think she has had any prenatal care. That will change if I have anything to do with it. Thanks again. OP commented with some of her concerns: yes. My worry and regret have so many places to go and a big part of it is for the baby. This has been a bad day. Responding to a comment regarding her child's entitled attitude: oh, believe you me, I have been kicking myself up and down on top of everything else. I don't know how she got to this point, but she's there now. I wish I did have that time travel machine she clearly expects me to have. She also clarified her overall views on the matter. I'm on the fence. If she acted at all like she didn't have a gender, I believe that's what NB is, then I could take it more seriously. But she dresses as a woman. She puts on makeup, wears dresses during the summer, enjoys feminine things. We watch horse videos on YouTube and squeal over the new foal videos. She's never been a tomboy, even. But I was like, okay, this isn't hurting her. I'll let her have this and express herself. Maybe it'll turn into something, maybe it won't. And after the first few weeks, she even dropped changing pronouns every day. Her mentioning being NB faded and then started up hard again when high school ended and she started working retail. I try to be understanding. Retail is hell and I'd personally only work it again if I was at my last resort, but recently it does seem to be an excuse not to work, and now she has a baby on the way. This may not be the place for it, but I'm just worried she's regressing to a more childlike state. I don't know if she's struggling with being NB or if she's using NB as an excuse to shield herself from the world. Ugh. I guess the internet won't know, but I'm just flat out worried. Update. This is an update to this post. Long story short, my 18-year-old NB daughter wanted me to raise her baby, and she told me she thinks of the baby as her sibling. We had a blowout. She locked herself in her room for most of a day and then took off with her friends, her lover. So this happened a few days ago, but I didn't update because I needed to get my head around it. It still doesn't make sense. Daughter finally unblocked me. She and the person who got her pregnant wanted to talk to me at a public place. We chose IHOP. Although I suspected I knew who her lover was, I was disappointed to find out because they have been a part of my daughter's friend group since high school and was the only one I ever had a problem with and kicked out of my house. They are trans now, but 2 years ago the friend group was watching a movie in the living room, and every time I'd pass by, he was a he then, would lock eyes with me and make really obnoxious, loud orgasm sounds like that scene in Harry Met Sally. I told him to knock it off and grew sterner when he did it again. Then when I was in the kitchen, he somehow snuck up behind me and was miming jack-off movements with his hand. I turned around and caught him at it. He was still fully clothed, but it was startling and freaky. I kicked him out. So now I'll just call them sperm donor because that's what they are. I'm still calling my daughter and she because I still haven't been told not to by her otherwise. So get off my case on that. Anyway, the IHOP meeting was a shit show. Sperm donor sat with my daughter and went on the attack. Sperm donor's points were, I was poisoning my daughter by making her take birth control. I only helped her get the prescription and would have done everything I could if I knew she didn't want to take the pill. There are other methods. It will take years to fix my daughter after all I did. Not giving her hormones even though I had no idea that was what she wanted. She dropped out, even wanting to change her pronouns after a few weeks. Abortion is a sin and I'm a monster for suggesting it. It's past the date anyway. I am further abusing her by not taking care of the baby while she fixes herself. I guess they meant it as a temp situation, which was also new to me. So apparently even though I'm an abusive monster, a bad mother and so on, I'm even worse for not taking in their baby. At least no one suggested that I raise it like my daughter's sister anymore. That might have been my daughter's thought on it. Sperm donor did most of the talking while my daughter just sat and glared at me, Nodding along. It was kind of a whirlwind. Sperm donor pounded the table a few times, and even the waiter knew not to bother us after drinks, lol. I'm surprised we weren't asked to leave. There was a lot said, mostly by the sperm donor who really seemed to be steering the ship. I asked why the sperm donor couldn't take care of the baby, and the sperm donor said their parents were even worse than me. I guess my daughter and sperm donor taking care of the child they created is out of the question. I told them that I would not be raising their baby for them and that adoption is the best bet. They said that if I don't agree to raise it, they'll make sure I'll never see the baby ever. I won't raise their child for them. So that's that, I guess. I feel so many flavors of worried and angry and then worried all over again. I've been around the block and it's never a great sign when the person you're with makes an enemy of your family. That's what sperm donor has done by painting me as an abuser and failed mother who also won't take in their baby. Sounds like sperm donors have cut themselves off from their own family too. So I'm worried my daughter is in a very controlling relationship with someone who convinced her to stop birth control because they think hormones are too feminizing somehow and that she needs to be fixed. But they still want me to raise their baby. I'm angry that my daughter can just hear this crap and nod along like, yeah, that makes total sense. She is not stupid. I think she's love blinded. I'm sad and worried for the baby. A couple commenters suggested I wanted nothing to do with the baby because I wouldn't agree to raise it as my own. No, in a perfect world, I would want a normal grandmotherly relationship. Or at least know that the child is safe and has been adopted into a loving family. I don't care what my daughter does with her gender, or her body as long as she doesn't hurt herself. I want her to be in a happy relationship with someone who values her for who she is. Sperm donor kept using the word fix, which I see as another terrible sign. It's bad all around. My house is empty. It feels like my adult daughter has run off to join up with some weird church cult thing who tells her that up is down. That not using birth control and not getting an abortion and then expecting others to take care of the child is all a-okay. Oh, and that she's a problem and needs to be fixed. I texted her and said I would be there for her, but sperm donors was still not welcome in the house. I think I'm blocked again. She's a legal adult. I'm not sure what else I can do at this point. In my low points, part of me thinks maybe I should agree to take the baby and then immediately make sure it's adopted into a loving home. But I get the feeling that sperm donors won't make that easy, and right now my daughter does what he says. Also, I'm not sure if that plan is even possible. It sounds like Hollywood. I have an appointment to speak with a counselor, but the soonest I could get is April. Some of my friends think I should take the baby in either to get them away from the parents or because they think it's my duty, or both. The only silver lining in this was that they both seem sober. I don't think there's drugs involved. Am I reading this wrong? Am I the asshole here? Commenters agreed that sperm donor's comments made no sense, and that OP's child was probably stuck in an abusive relationship. Comment 1. For your safety, I would change the locks and put up a camera. Sperm donor seems unhinged. I'm a firm believer in better safe than sorry. Comment 2. This baby will be used as a pawn in his never-ending psychodrama. If they do not and cannot raise their baby, the best solution is adoption. Otherwise, the father will make your life a living hell. OP's response. I couldn't figure out a polite way of saying this, but yes. That is my suspicion if I take in their baby. Sperm donor implied it would be temporary while earlier my daughter said it would be permanent. I think sperm donors will refuse to sign over paperwork when the time comes or try to leverage it in some way. Comment 3. NTA. Also, it sounds like your daughter is in an abusive relationship with this person. Sorry your daughter has been brainwashed by this crazy person. I would definitely contact this sperm donor's family and if they seem sane, warn them about how crazy both of them spoke to you. OP's response. That is my fear and not a bad idea to contact sperm donor's parents. This has all happened so far. I feel like I'm in shock and I'm very worried. Comment 4. Pretty wild that a trans person is saying abortion is a sin. None of this is anything like what you're going to hear from any healthy LGBT community, who are quite careful to make sure not to support people in delusional or antisocial behavior. Definitely get therapy. Sounds like your kid has some serious mental health problems if they're being influenced by whatever wackos put these ideas into their head. You're going to need support in coping with this madness. NTA by a country mile. You are in no way abusing your kid by refusing to take responsibility for their bad choices. OP's response. Thank you, and yes, I don't want to minimize my daughter's role in it, but the hard anti-abortion thing surprised me too. A lot of what they said contradicted itself. It felt like I was sitting across from two people who were in their own wacko bubble. I know it's not a LGBT thing. I wish someone from their community would knock some sense into them, if it's even possible at this point. OP left an update in a comment. I logged in and received a large amount of requests for an update. Unfortunately, I do not have one. I have not seen or heard from my daughter since the last meeting, and I believe she has changed her phone number. Our community isn't a large one, and I have heard through the grapevine she is staying with the sperm donor in one of the homeless camps out in the woods. As this is a haven for drugs and sex trafficking, this is a further concern. From what I've heard, she is pregnant. Myself and a few friends and family members have driven through the camp area a few times on the lookout for her, but it's very large and there aren't exactly marked roads. Also recently other people have been shot at while walking their dogs around there, or riding ATVs, so every time we go it's a risk. So that's it. I'm stuck hoping she's safe and under some kind of shelter. There are a lot of plywood houses and broken down RVs out there, and waiting to hear news when she has the baby. Yes, CPS and the local police are aware of my concerns. I'm worried the child will be born addicted to drugs because I don't know anyone who doesn't live out there who isn't a meth head. Thanks for your concern all. I'm unsure what I'll do when the baby is born. I might have to take in the baby after all just to make sure it doesn't live in that camp, and it may make me an asshole, but I am not looking forward to the hard work and drama that will come with it. New update. I posted another update in the comments a while back. It's on my account. Basically my pregnant daughter shut me out of her life completely, and rumor had it she was living in a homeless camp with her weirdo lover out in the woods. It's a huge place and my friends and I searched a few times but weren't able to find her. It's also dangerous because there aren't laws out there and the homeless shoot at ATV riders and hikers and send dogs after people who come too close to what they consider their territory. To be clear, I don't think my daughter was part of that group. The camp is huge and full of meth addicts, sex traffickers, and drug labs. Anyway, the full story is in my account if you care. I did contact sperm donor's parents and they have all but disowned him after very much the same disturbing behavior I outlined earlier, only geared toward their younger siblings. So that sucks. Back to the new news. All this shook out a couple weeks ago, but I hesitated to post because of my own emotions and the fact I know Reddit will be all over my ass for the deep anger, shame, and disappointment I have for my daughter. I came home from grocery shopping to find a strange pregnant woman at my door. That woman used to be my daughter, but had changed so much she was like a stranger. She chatters constantly so you can't get a word in, she has several small face tattoos and, forgive me for saying this, looks like she has aged 20 years. She had been living rough. She was angry I locked her out. I changed the locks after she left, and basically expected to move back into her old room with no problem, like it was just another day from back in the winter when she lived here. Of course I wasn't going to turn her away, so I guess in a way she was right. She was living in the homeless camp with the sperm donor, and I insisted she take a shower because it looked like she hadn't since leaving. She also stank bad. She had no shame about blocking my number or what she put me through by disappearing. All she wanted to talk about was the grand fate that she and sperm donor are building. That they're building a community of new people, and she went on and on and on without mentioning the baby once. I don't know how anyone can stand them, but sperm donor has multiple partners and my daughter is one of them and is perfectly happy being his broodmare. The broodmare is my verbiage. Hers is much more royal. Frankly, based on what she overshared, sperm donor seems like a complete sex fiend. Finally I broke in and asked and she said she had been to the doctor regularly. That was a lie, found out later, and all is well with the baby. At this point I knew she had to be on drugs. If she was awake, she was talking, and none of what she said had an end or a point. Also, a lot was from Crazy Town. What I got from her was that, again, she and several other ladies, and men, somehow, were to carry the next generation of new people. Yes, the men. Yes, biological men. Sperm donor was sort of the middle of the wheel with the spokes, was how she described it. I've met him before and I'm surprised he was able to get one girlfriend, much less whatever grouping is going on now. Anyway, sometimes she said she wanted to keep the baby, though she wouldn't tell me a plan to take care of and house it. I think she expected to stay with me, and sometimes she wanted to adopt it out, but not for the good of the baby but to spread the new people. This part is going to upset the internet, but the new people are apparently without gender expectations, and that was why she didn't know the baby's gender yet. Oh yeah, and also some of the wheel, her group, were empathic and they could communicate their feelings through the other world. As a houseguest, she was the absolute worst. It was like she had gone feral out in the camp and cleaned up after herself to the point where she mostly did not even flush the toilet after using it. She ate everything, which was to be expected, but never cleaned up after herself and kept asking is too mild of a word, she demanded, for me to take her out to restaurants. I did it a couple of times because I missed her and was trying to make a connection, but then once afterward took her to the store to get baby supplies, And she was weirdly detached. Sort of picked up the first thing she saw on the shelf, and all the while it was yak 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 about her true family of new people and their grand fate. Anyway, I finally told her that she expected the baby in mid-July, which put her outside the time frame she originally gave me. I had it on my calendar. I was obsessed with the possible due date because I didn't know if she would find a baby on my doorstep or what. And yes, she was under the care of a doctor. Both lies. Getting her to focus on one subject was impossible. She would only stop talking long enough to take a breath and only listen long enough to you to stop for your own before she'd launch into a new thing, usually around sperm donor, who she loved but was nowhere in sight and was chilling back at the camp with the rest of his breeding stock, or whatever. Basically, I was waiting for her to come down off whatever high she was on, when she went into full-blown labor. It was a complete shit show. She was having pains but her water hadn't broken yet. At the hospital it came out that she had not been to the doctor once for the baby. There are programs in our state that cover pregnancies. So that put her at high risk, so she was admitted immediately. That's when the switch flipped and she became hateful towards nurses and doctors. She said the worst things and they were absolute saints in return. She also had delusions of grandeur and told them she was their queen and accused them of trying to punish her. It was so wild, I can't even describe the monster she became. So hateful. Racist, vicious, and the worst things you can say to people, she said them. She wasn't in hard labor yet, so it wasn't entirely the pain. I pulled one nurse aside and told her where she had been living and that I suspected drugs, though I hadn't caught her using yet. They were so professional and gave her painkillers that helped her mood. Not gonna lie, they doped her up because she was acting wild. Imagine my surprise when her blood work came out clean. I wasn't there for the birth because she didn't want me in the room with her, and heaven help me, I was a little relieved because I was ashamed of her behavior. But I did talk to a social worker on staff to let them know everything I did. The lady was very nice but couldn't speculate officially on my daughter's mental state. I said she had to be bipolar or manic or something because her behavior was not normal, but she asked if she had threatened to kill herself or harm the baby, and she hadn't. They can't step in until there's a threat. Miraculously, the child was born at a good weight and healthy, and not addicted. I don't want to give too much info on them because the internet is forever and one day they may search for their own past. My daughter lucked out big time and had a normal delivery as things went. She didn't give sperm donor's name out as the father, though I did to the social worker. They can't put the birth certificate on my word. She got up and left her baby that evening without officially checking out. Without saying goodbye to me or her newborn. Because the hospital is a safe surrender point, she won't be charged for abandonment. CPS asked if I wanted to take the child, and though it tore me up, I said no. There are a lot of reasons for why. A big one is I don't want to be held hostage to my daughter's whims, and especially sperm donor. I don't want to be on the hook for more children who are likely to come. Also, look at my daughter. I did my best and she still turned out this way. Maybe I shouldn't try again. I know getting a new family is almost the best thing that could have happened for the baby, even with problems with the foster system. It has to be better than the camp. But I feel like dog shit about it even now. I also suspect they'll have a sibling soon as my daughter can arrange it. I know my daughter is not well. I know she's in a cult and probably in danger and also probably an abuser herself, based on the stories she casually dropped about other members. She is also a selfish liar, and it is luck or the grace of God or what have you that her baby was born healthy. She is rolling the dice on her life and the life of her future children. She's sick and under a sex fiend's control and now thinks she has magic thought powers, but she has some responsibility in this too. All the rest of the transgender stuff with her lover, and if she is NB or not from the past doesn't matter. She's an adult and is making some bad choices. It's hard for me to type out, but the way she treated the hospital staff was so cruel. Seriously, I had to use a thesaurus to describe it because I can't even fully describe how bad it was. It showed me that whatever else, she thinks other people are below her. It's more than the mania. I'm just there to serve her, whenever she sees fit. She knew she would be giving birth soon, so she came home and expected me to take care of her. I did, of course, because she was 9 months pregnant. And the second she didn't have any more need for me, or the baby she had just given birth to, it was easy to take off again. I listened to her for days and she expressed no feelings of hope for the baby other than a vehicle to spread their movement. No worry about their future life, and no more comments on me raising them as a sibling. She made the choice to leave and go back to sperm donor's harem or wheel or whatever. Sick or not, I'm ashamed to have raised someone with these kinds of values. Mentally ill people aren't bad people, but she has gone beyond merely bad choices. I haven't totally written her off and she may come back to sanity, but since all indications are that I'm blocked again, I'm going to think long and hard about boundaries and possibly moving. I'm worried about one day finding a bunch of curtly weirdos on my porch. So that's it, I don't know what to do. It's not like I have the resources to pay someone to deprogram my daughter, and that sounds very Hollywood. I need a realistic goal. It's more than just a cult. She needs a checkup from the neck up and I don't have the legal standing to do anything. At least the baby is safe. That's the one bright spot. Thoughts are welcome and, forgive me, any realistic suggestions, or just tell me if I'm way off base and I'm the asshole here. This has been a hell of a year and such a spiral. A year ago I had a somewhat of a slacker teenager under my roof. Now all of this. My dad stole my identity and opened 3 credit cards in my name. He told me that since I'm young I can do without for a few years. I found that my dad used my information to open 3 credit cards over the last year. When I went to get a pre-approval for a mortgage, I was told by the lender they wouldn't be able to give me a home loan because of the defaulted credit cards. They also said I probably wouldn't be able to get a loan from any lender because of it and gave me a sheet of paper explaining what I'd need to do in order to fix it. When I tried disputing the cards, one of which is already in collections, the disputes got closed out as the debts were verified. I told my divorced parents about it and their answers were pretty wildly different. My dad said that these things happen, and that I should be more careful in the future with my social security number. Seeing as I've always been careful, that made me pretty mad. My mom said she thinks my dad might have something to do with it since opening credit cards in her name had a part to play in their divorce. She told me he ran up about $50,000 in credit card debt on secret credit cards. A few days ago, I ended up casually telling my dad I'm going to have to file a police report for the credit cards. He told me I probably shouldn't do that because $15,000 isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. When I told him it was keeping me from buying a house, he said I could just wait a few years until they fell off of my credit report. He said it would only take another 4.5 years. When I told him I obviously couldn't wait that long so I had to file the police report, he straight up told me not to do it and to just be more careful in the future. Once I told him I already got the paperwork together from the credit agencies, he told me he had opened the cards to pay for living expenses over the last year. He said his work slowed down a little bit but he'd do what he could to help pay it off. He said it would ruin his life if he went to jail. I'm leaning towards going to the police anyway. But I didn't right that minute. I have everything in front of me today to go make the report. I guess I just want to make sure turning it over to the police is the right thing to do here. Especially if I'm wanting to buy a house this year. Top comments. Comment 1, report him for fraud. OP, that's what I'm leaning towards. I'm realizing if I want to buy a house, I can't have those accounts on my credit. Comment 2, if he wasn't your dad you'd have reported him already, right? Well, think about this. Why didn't he give you the same respect and not ruin your credit because he's your father? Update 1. I spent about half of the day reading everyone's comments and it pretty much solidified what I was going to do. The process itself was pretty easy. I went to the police department and the person at the front desk had me wait about 10 minutes before an officer came out. We talked for about 15 minutes and he made copies of all of the paperwork I gave him. He told me the case would be assigned to a detective on Tuesday and gave me a pamphlet about how to contact the credit agencies. I was given a report number and was told I could use that now to start disputing the accounts. A detective is going to follow up with me in the next couple of weeks. I asked what would end up happening to my dad and the officer said it looked pretty clear cut to him, but the charging decision is 100% with the state attorney's office. He said if they decide to pursue charges, he'll likely get a warrant put out for his arrest. He also said typically if this is his first felony, he's probably going to get some sort of pre-trial diversion with court supervision or probation. He probably won't go to jail for years, but if he gets picked up on a warrant he's going to spend at least a little bit of time behind bars. I've decided I'm okay with that because it's obvious to me he did this purposefully. He's never been arrested before so hopefully this is a wake-up call for him. At the same time, he completely did this to himself. I'll update whenever I learn more. Top comments. Comment 1, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Sincerely hope everything works out well for you. OP, I think it will. From what I understand it might take a month or 2 for the cards to come off of my credit but once they do, my credit score should shoot up. Comment 2, well done OP. I was so mad on your behalf reading the first post, it would take everything in me not to use his words against him. Jail time? It's just a few years. You've ruined my life. No. You did it by trying to ruin mine. I hope the marks come off your credit report like it's made of Teflon. Good luck on your home ownership journey. Update 2. There's been some good, a little bad, and a little real bad progress the past few days. The good, I used my report number and disputed every account. When I checked my credit last, which everyone should be doing regularly, the one with the lowest balance was already off of my account. The other cards and the collection account are still showing, but I have hope they'll be falling off in the next few weeks. I also received a call from someone at the prosecutor's office who had a couple of extra questions for me and asked if I would be willing to testify if they charged him. I said yes, and they said they would be making a decision on their charges before the end of the month. The bad, obviously, someone talked to my dad about this because the last time he talked, he scolded me for going to the police and hasn't talked to me since. One of my brothers was also pretty mad at me about it and hasn't talked to me in over a week. The rest of my siblings and my mom understood where I was coming from. The real bad, one of my other brothers, not the one who was pissed, found 2 open credit cards on his credit which weren't his. He checked his credit score for the first time in a couple of years and he said it was down about 150 points from where it used to be. He's now in the process of dealing with that. He doesn't have any positive proof, yet, that it was our dad. But the fingers are pointing in that direction. This still blows my mind that a dad could do this to his own children. I'm moving forward though, I still hope to be able to purchase a house before the end of the year. Additional information from OP, also, I think all of my other siblings, there are 6 of us, are checking their credit too. Probably for the best. New update. This is going to be my final update as it seems like this has gone viral and hit a few different big websites. I'm happy to say my credit has completely returned to normal. All of the disputed accounts are now gone. Obviously, I'm excited about this since it gives me a solid financial future. I also received a letter from the prosecutor's office 2 weeks ago and they said they are going forward with a charge of what is basically identity theft. I spoke with an assistant prosecutor and they explained they'd be putting out a warrant shortly, but that as a first-time offender, they'd probably offer a misdemeanor charge and a plea. My dad was arrested last Friday after a traffic stop. He got out of jail the next day and has a new court date in late August according to the Public Records website. He called me and told me I'm dead to him and to never contact him again. My brother who found credit cards opened in his name has made a police report as well, but apparently the addresses are different on the accounts. He was told it was unlikely it would be prosecuted, but he's working on getting them off of his credit. Additional information from OP, just wanted to give everyone who commented in my other posts a shout out. You have all given me the courage to do this. I'm going to be deleting this throwaway because I really hope to put all of this behind me between the news articles and having no contact with my dad. Don't let things like this sneak up on you. It breaks my heart to do this to my dad, but he did this to himself. Am I the A for telling my fiancée that her wedding dress choice is too extravagant and suggesting cheaper alternatives? We are getting married in July of this year, the venue is booked and the wedding is pretty much sorted. Emma has been researching dresses and has a little scrapbook of lots of dresses she likes for ideas but is now looking to buy. All that's left to get is the bridesmaid dresses and her wedding dress. We jointly put aside $10,000 each for the wedding. Everything is paid and we have $6,000 left over, which I think could go towards the honeymoon on top of the honeymoon fund we already had. We aren't the extravagant type at all. Then comes the time for Emma to pick her dress. I know everything is more expensive when it has the term wedding attached to it. What I wasn't expecting was a $950 dress plus $120 veil. I'm using my dad's old tux he used for his wedding to my mom, just had it taken in a little. Emma can't use her mom's dress as her, and her mom both say the style hasn't aged well, which is fair. I had a quick Google around at dresses online and there were so many. And so many just like the one Emma wants for like $50 to $100. I'm not trying to get her to cheap out on her dress, but she will literally wear it once. One dress for over $1,000 is just insane. That would fund our honeymoon. I tried to show her some dresses I found on a recommended app called Wish and others on websites, but she was having none of it. She is very slender but apparently wants it specially fitted. It turned nasty unfortunately because I said I refused to drop such a large amount of money on a dress and she argued that she is using her own money for the dress. Which isn't strictly true as we ain't about to marry and our finances will be joined. Then her mom had to get involved. They offered to pay for the dress, but it's not a case of not being able to afford it. It's a dress. There are identical ones online at a fraction of the cost. I thought she would be ecstatic to learn there are identical dresses for a fraction of the cost, but she was really angry and upset. Is there something I am seriously missing? Because after we argued about the dress, Emma has been extremely cold towards me. Then yesterday she said if I want her to cheap out on her wedding dress on her wedding day that she needs to really consider if we're a good match for marriage. I was blown away that she would say that over a dress. I told her she's like a toddler throwing a tantrum over a sparkly toy she can't have. That was a mistake as she left to stay with her parents, who called to tell me I am much more than an asshole. TLDR fiancé can get a similar dress for around $100 with shipping online but wants to blow over $1,000 at a local wedding dress boutique. Am I the asshole for saying to get a cheaper one online? Edit. Emma found this thread. It was a mistake to post here and I'm sorry I posted our problems on Reddit. AITA. The top replies from OP. Comment 1, but the gowns I found on Wish looked very professionally made, and very similar to the one she's picked. Comment 2, I mentioned the second-hand wedding dress store and she said no without even going to take a look. Comment 3, that's not fair. I would never tell her what to wear. She can wear what she wants. It is the absurd price that I'm against. Comment 4, see, I can definitely understand caring about the quality of a dress if it's a work dress or a regularly worn formal dress. I think what everyone's missing is that this will be worn for one day only. Relevant comments. Emma, ask yourself if your fiancé's behavior here is a one-off. There are some concerning things here. His insistence on controlling your purchase, made with your money, even if it's funded by your parents. Is he controlling in other ways? Has he ever been insistent on you spending your time and money only in ways he approves of? And does he usually lash out when you don't do what he wants? The way he's resorting to name-calling because you wouldn't capitulate to his demands, calling you a toddler throwing a tantrum, instead of communicating with you respectfully. This is made especially worse by the fact that his demands are unreasonable and stem from a fundamental ignorance about the subject, wedding gown cost, what knockoffs are and why they're a bad idea, etc. And that he's shutting down your attempts to educate him. Does he normally communicate with you openly and respectfully? Does he normally get angry and verbally attack you when you disagree with him? Are you normally able to have conversations with him on difficult topics that are calm, respectful and productive, even when you disagree? Maybe you're both cracking under wedding planning strain, and this is an out-of-character moment that you can work through, but maybe this is pointing to a larger pattern. Proceed with caution. Remember, you're about to enter into a pretty intense legal and social contract with this man, and that you're signing up for a lifetime of conflict resolution with this person in particular. The way you both approach disagreement and handle conflict now reflects how you'll be likely to continue to do so going forward. Now may be the time to double-check with yourself if this is the right move. Edit. After reading through the comments, I would also encourage you to look at his behavior here, on this Reddit post. His response to new information is not to take it on board and process it, but to double down, plug his fingers in his ears, close his eyes, and refuse to listen. The lengths he'll go to avoid admitting he was mistaken are a bit troubling. It may also be worth asking yourself if there's a reason someone who is so insistent on always being right may have for seeking out a partner who's a decade younger. I'm wishing you all the best, and I hope this works out for you. OP, I thought I'd have a look through the comments to see if anything explained why Emma has blocked me and her phone is ringing through to voicemail. I seriously can't believe people started a witch hunt over a dress. I watched some YouTube videos of Wish wedding dresses, and yes, Wishes are trash. I got it, I was wrong about that site. But to end up blocked because you have all told her I'm abusive and manipulative is just vile. I called her parents' house and the line's off the hook, so if you see this, Emma, call me, please. I won't shout, I won't get mad, I just want to end this crap. Get whatever dress you want, I see that I was wrong. I'm sorry. Spelling bad, had some whiskey. Can you blame me after this? Edit 2. Based on Josh's newest comment about you blocking him on Messenger, it sounds like you're taking some time and space to think things over. I think that's a really good move. There's a quiz from the Love is Respect project that may help clarify your thinking about whether this is a healthy, nurturing relationship. I hope everything turns out well for you, Emma, whatever you decide to do. There's a whole community of people here rooting for you to be happy. Edit 3. It looks like OP has been banned from AITA. He just sent me a furious, invective-filled PM blaming the sub for what's happening in his personal relationship and reiterating that abusive behavior is normal and fine, so I guess he's learned nothing. According to the PM, Emma's dad just called him and chewed him out, so it sounds like at least she has a strong familial support system. Transcript of the PM banned. I'm now banned from Am I the Asshole and good fucking riddance. Her dad just called to cuss me the fuck out. Can you believe I've been trying to not fucking cuss so I don't get banned so I can at least defend myself, then banned for no reason. I live in the real world where when people are angry they yell, they save money where they can and they don't fucking run away and block you. Fuck this, fuck it all, and fuck Emma for believing strangers on the internet over her fiancé of 2 fucking years, cupcakes _ vodka. Emma, if you see this, run for the fucking hills. Men who are almost 40 marry 27-year-olds often because they are manipulative and going to pull shit a woman his age won't put up with. He's too old for you. You are seeing signs of this behavior now. $950 for a wedding dress ain't shit. He is already trying to control and manipulate you and your finances, and you aren't even married yet. Don't go through with it. OP, you are a massive asshole and she shouldn't marry you. OP. Wow, thanks. Seriously, she has been keeping up with this thread because she told me not to take it down. She wanted to read the replies, and now she's blocked me on Messenger and my calls go to voicemail. So thanks a lot. Everyone couldn't have left it at YTA. Legitimately out for blood, mob mentality if ever I saw it. The Bride. I will change the name despite his inability to do the same. I don't really care if he sees this, but he isn't sub to relationships. I literally don't know where to start. My fiancé will call Greg. I don't know what came over him. It's completely insane. We are getting married this summer. The argument started over my wedding dress. I picked a very simple and traditional gown that was already discounted as it is an X-sample gown. My absolute idiot fiancé decided to post to a subreddit asking for opinions or more likely validation on whether was being unreasonable. My dress is under $1,000 but will come to around $1,500 with alterations. We have over $7,000 left over in our budget. That's another thing that seriously upset me, that he lied in his post multiple times. I make a much higher salary than him, so we agreed he would put $5,000 towards the wedding and I put in the rest, but why lie? Why ask opinions if you've skewed the details? I had absolutely no problem with this as he makes just above the minimum wage. The thread got way too much attention. I had already gone to my parents because I was angry about him calling me immature and shouting about me being spoiled. I also happened to find the thread shortly after he made it because not only did he use my real name, his throwaway was his real name followed by his alarm pin. He sent me a text saying that he wasn't the asshole in this situation and I just knew he would post it on Reddit. It's not the first time he's posted on Reddit about stuff. But nothing of this magnitude. Anyway, I don't know what to do. There are people online now claiming to be me and it's been shared on Twitter and Facebook and I'm just absolutely mortified. He got totally hammered last night and called my parents. My dad had to hang up on him because he was screaming down the phone and my mom was disgusted. I can't get my money back on the venue or anything. I recently started taking antidepressants because I've been feeling low, but now I just feel empty. This whole thing was about the cost of my dress and he suggested I use the Wish app to get an identical gown. First he refused to listen to me saying that Wish is garbage, but he also argued it to death in the comments. I read every single comment in that thread and it was like being punched in the gut. I can't get over the odd lies either. He gave out my real name and his butt lied about the age gap and budget. I am 23. He is 43. Admittedly, he looks much younger, and for the first few weeks dating I thought he was in his early 30s. We also have only been together a year. Not 2 years, I think he said, and I'm starting to think this was all too fast. I need help. I need advice. I know I'm quite possibly pot calling the kettle by posting to Reddit, but I post here a lot usually anyway, and all the fake accounts claiming to be me might throw him off anyway. I might be slow replying as I start work in an hour. Thanks all. Tell Dr. Fiance posted to Reddit to get opinions on the price of my wedding dress but used my real name and it all blew up. People are creating fake accounts pretending to be me and he has devolved to calling me names and getting drunk and calling my family. He also lied about a lot of details in the post. How do I handle this calmly? 3 months later, ex-fiance made a post. A few months back I was going to be married, and long story short, things were called off. She wanted to end things, I didn't. And I feel like I've lost all of my trust in women. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I was dating someone called Isabel until last week. She's really amazing and kind, but the second she heard about my ex and the fiasco that surrounded it, she ghosted me. And it becomes a pattern. At some point, no matter how close we get, they hear about it from a friend, it comes up somehow and they bail. I just want to know how to behave, or what I can do to make things work. My last GF, Casey, when she broke up with me, she said that I hadn't changed from who I was when my fiancé left me, but I have. I hardly drink at all now, my job is steady and I'm a good guy, but I think the issue is that I'm suffering from small town syndrome. Everyone knows everyone here, back ass words, little town it is. Please give me advice on putting this behind me. I am honestly desperate. My life was about to move towards a phase and now I'm stuck in limbo. I need a girl to fill that place so I can move forward with my life. I punched an autistic kid after he groped me and now everyone hates me. Am I the jerk? That grope was the last straw. I have known Troy since nursery, kindergarten for Americans, or just anyone, and he has always been a baby. It was always his autism that made him who he was. I don't know why, but he always had a crush on me. I rejected him gently multiple times, but he never took no for an answer. As we grew older, he got worse. He started commenting on my chest. Asking to touch them. Asking to see them. His friends kept trying to convince me to show him because nobody would be nice enough to give him a chance. And in year 7, 6th grade, he started groping me. I told teachers, but they kept saying that his autism doesn't make him know any better. It was only me. He got jealous when I was in the presence of another guy. He would have meltdowns and I got into trouble because I knew how upset he would get. No, I didn't. It was like my only purpose was to be his. I wasn't allowed to be my own person. The groping continued. I kept telling him to stop. He didn't listen. I remember crying on the floor and teachers just kept saying that his autism makes him like this and that I'm being a good person by taking care of him. His groping hurt. I don't know how to explain it. He just grabbed my chest and butt hard. And it hurts. The groping continued for 4 years. I was always his caretaker, his girlfriend, his best friend, his. I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. It was hot and I wore a skirt and he proceeded to put his hands up my skirt and groped my butt. I lost it and punched him around the nose. His nose got broken and unfortunately now I am getting put into isolation for 2 months for bullying an autistic kid. He's not a kid though. He's 16 years old. He acts normal around his friends. He treats everyone else with respect. He's not a kid. Now everyone hates me. I have been receiving death threats and people have been saying he should have done worse. Now all I want to do is curl up and die. Maybe I should have been nicer. Maybe I should have been more sympathetic. Maybe I should have just accepted it. I could have been his only chance. For the record, I don't despise autistic people. He is not a representative of them. He is just an awful person. Troy is just a horrible person. Thank you for letting me vent. Edit. Hi all. I didn't expect so much attention, so thank you for the validation. Giving my context. His parents are prominent people in our community. His dad is a third-generation Army something, IDK, and his mom is known for always holding all of the stuff for kids. Like the summer fairs, etc. She is also part of the school board and friends with the higher-ups if you will, which is why this happened at all. I wasn't technically his caretaker because I didn't have to feed him, clothe him, etc. I just had to be his friend. His dad is also friends with the police station, they go way back, so that's another reason why they didn't do much. Or just took a statement then wrote him off as mentally disabled. And the police here just suck ass here. Police officers have essayed many women before here. They just get let off unfortunately. Onto a semi-update. Firstly, my parents will look into lawyers, we just couldn't afford one, and I was always too scared to get one. I guess it was because I have been so neglected, that I just thought nobody would believe me. However, my other relatives said that they would chip in and pay for a good lawyer. Meanwhile, my parents took me out of the school and I will stay at my grandma's for a while to recover. My auntie is also going to pay for my therapy. So I will enjoy that much needed therapy. Thank you so much for the kind words. I hope you all miraculously wake up with more money in your bank's accounts than you expected. Edit 2. Hi all, I didn't expect this story to end up on TikTok so quickly. I would like to thank you all again for your words and thank you so much to those who have been reaching out to me. It means a lot. I would also like to point out that this is a throwaway account, and I want to stay anonymous. But thank you all so much again for the kind words and comments. I realize that I was never in the wrong. That I am a person. Thank you. I truly hope you all have the best days ever. You all are amazing. Relevant comments from OOP. Comment 1. Is the kid cognitively challenged? OP, nope, he has mild autism if that makes sense. He's actually quite good around people. Just not me. IG. Comment 2. I would get law enforcement involved. OP, we tried to. They just didn't care because he is mentally challenged. My parents genuinely tried to do something, but when everyone defends him, they believe the majority. I mean, when I usually say this story, people automatically think I hate autistic people. I don't. Because autistic people don't do this. Horrible people do. Autism isn't the label for assault, the label is sexual assaulter. Update. Firstly, I would like to thank you all so much for your kind words and messages. Thank you for your support and validation, your words meant so much to me. Also, I thought I would explain the whole I hope you all miraculously wake up with more money in your bank account comment. I heard someone in TikTok say this and thought it would be a nice thing to say, as some people did question it in my messages. But yeah, thank you all again. Before this update starts, I would like to say that this all occurred like 2 weeks ago now. I just reached my breaking point and needed to vent. Hence why the update may be soon to some. This won't be the final update, but an update. I would also like to clear the air with my parents. Now unfortunately, my parents come from a country where this stuff is normal. Not only that, but I am partially to blame as I didn't say anything. Eventually I did tell them and they tried their best to help me. But they didn't know how. Though I do acknowledge their efforts, I am still going to be taking time to heal from them as well. My entire family also had a go at them and expressed their disappointment. The best thing for now is for me to spend some time apart from them. So to begin, I left the school. After my parents had heard that I got into trouble seriously because of Troy again, they basically thought it was time to pull me out. I am due to start my new school in 2 weeks. I have also been trying to settle at my grandma's house as I just needed a fresh start with fresh people. To be honest, I have never felt so free. I have had to deal with that torment for years and years. So now I can enjoy the pleasure of walking home and not seeing him or bumping into him. So I feel great. On to the serious stuff. As I had mentioned, my family basically decided to pay for a lawyer, and we are now hoping to have a lawsuit against basically everyone involved. My grandma also had to go to put nicely with the school's board for basically allowing nepotism to harass other girls. She called all of the teachers a disgrace for endangering not only me but other people and saying how none of the teachers who allowed this deserved to even step foot into a school. This experience has also not been all sunshines and daisies. After the suit was claimed or made, IDK, my parents got letters and messages basically asking for the case to be dropped. My parents obviously said no. But it still didn't stop the harassment. I eventually got harassed too. All of the people giving me death threats decided to go into graphic detail on what Troy wanted to do to me. Spoiler, it wasn't great. And Troy's parents showed up on my doorstep demanding to see me and talk to me and how Troy is ready to apologize. Thankfully by then my uncle and I had been on the way to my grandma's house. However, my parents obviously didn't let them in regardless and said that if they wanted to communicate it had to be through a lawyer. The harassment didn't stop. And eventually Troy sent me a message on a burner account detailing all of the things he was going to do if got the opportunity to, and that I should be grateful that I managed to walk away with just a groping. Troy also kept spewing on about how I'm nothing but a whore or slut, etc. And I should be grateful that someone so popular even looked my way. He kept saying how if I'd just let him fuck me, he wouldn't have groped me. However, I know if I did that I would no longer be myself. I would be his property forever. The thought of that makes me want to vomit. Also, his logic doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, I just got receipts and blocked him. I also asked my parents to help me change my number. And I did. My grandma, being the person she is, decided that wasn't good enough and got me a whole new phone. She claims it's compensation for my trauma. Thanks, Grandma. I am starting therapy the day after tomorrow and I am hoping to start family therapy in August as, truthfully, I don't know if I'm mad at my parents or should be mad. Like, is it my fault for not saying anything? But that's all the update I can give you for now. The lawsuit will be a whole other process and hopefully if I remember I can update you all again. Thank you so much for your words. I truly appreciate all of you. I hope this update is clear enough for you and apologies if you made it this far. My autistic brother spent over 400 pounds of my hard-earned money on Lego, and my mum supports this. I, 14, have a brother 16 who has autism and I just can't stand it anymore. Before you go and make assumptions, let me get this out of the way. He's not like the autistic people you see on the news or online. He's a perfectly functional, intelligent person, however he becomes violent when he doesn't get his way, and his brain doesn't get toilet messages, regularly pisses, shits himself. The thing with him is, these things only happen at home. Anywhere else, he doesn't have any problems with accidents in his pants. What happened today drove me over the edge to the point of writing this. For context, here is the usual routine. I woke up to him on my bed hitting me repeatedly. My parents are downstairs making breakfast, oblivious to this. He won't stop, so I shout for my mom. She comes upstairs, gets him off me by rewarding him with chocolate, and proceeds to yell at me for shouting at her, and confiscate my electronics for an hour. When I get home from school, all is fine. I do some homework and go on the Xbox. After around 30 minutes on the Xbox, he does the same thing. Hits me over and over, leaving me with no choice but to call for my mom. She again rewards him for stopping, before proceeding to tell me off, and confiscate my electronics for the rest of the day. I'm writing this with the phone one of my friends bought for me which I keep under my bed, as this is the only way I get to use technology for over 40 minutes a day. A reminder that this is the daily routine and has been occurring for at least 5 years. However, what happened today was even worse. He'd seen a Lego set that he wanted and beat me up until he got it. I shouted for my mom, but this time, she did something different. She let him order all the Lego he wanted, from my debit card. I've been saving up doing my paper round for 2 years to buy a PC, and he just blew 400 pounds of my money on Lego. I hate this. I hate my life. It feels like I'm only living to suffer. This post is purely me venting, and will likely not go anywhere, but I don't care. With all that said, is there anything I can do about this? I'm a minor in the UK if that helps. TLDR. My autistic brother spent over £400 of my hard-earned money on Lego, and my mum supports this edit. Thanks for all the supportive comments. I didn't think anyone would care. Edit 2. 2,000 upvotes. You guys are insane. I didn't think anyone would care about this, but obviously you guys do. I'm writing an update to answer some of your questions, and explain my next moves. Again, thank you all so much for all of the support. Update. First, I just want to say thank you. Thank you all so much for all the support on the original post and all of your ideas in the comments. I tried to reply to every comment, but there are so many that I can't do that, although I do read them all. Second, I want to do a quick FAQ as many comments are asking the same thing. So here goes. Move in with another family member, tell another family member. They all live 100+ miles away and don't believe that it's serious. You can get your money back as you're the cardholder. Nope, I need a legal guardian to go into the bank with me to do that. And finally, hit him back. I am a weak, 5 foot tall 14-year-old. He is a strong, 6 foot tall 16-year-old. This would cause more harm to me because he would attack back harder, and my mum would punish me more. Next, to the people who have offered me money in PMs and the comments. Thank you all so much for the offer, but I'm not going to accept anything. As I've come to realize, the assault is far more serious than the money at the end of the day. Finally, on to my plan. After reading literally 100s of comments, I've decided that the best course of action is to leg it out of school to the police station on Wednesday, and show them my collected video evidence, and the bruises on my arms. Again, thank you all so much for your advice. Please let me know if this is what I should do or if there's a better alternative. Edit. Just got 3 videos of this story in a row on TikTok. That's absolutely crazy. My husband is a doctor. Am I the asshole for wanting him to be by my side holding my hand during childbirth instead of delivering our baby? I originally posted this in Am I the Asshole, and it was removed. I can't see any of the comments now. I, 35, am 7 months pregnant. I am married to a family medicine doctor, 35, and we've been together for 10 years. This is a throwaway account on Reddit because my sister-in-law follows me on Reddit and reports everything to my husband. I'm reaching out to all of you to ask for advice on a fight my husband and I are having about our birth plan. My husband really wants to deliver the baby, which I can kind of understand. It's not uncommon for doctors to deliver their own child. There is still an obstetrician-gynecologist there, monitoring everything. And the doctor father steps in at the last minute as the mother is crowning to just catch the baby. My husband has, I guess, always dreamed of being the one to pull the baby out, while I pictured it very differently. I thought he would be up by my head, holding my hand and helping me through it. He says he will do that, but the easiest part is the very end where I won't need him anyway. He said if I really want someone there, his mom can step in. I've been on my own since I was a kid living in my car, so I don't have anyone I'd want in there with me except him. I don't really even want his mom in there. She's great, but he's my person. I know it would be cool for him to deliver our baby, but I really feel like I need him there. I personally didn't want our doctors to know he was a doctor because as soon as any of my doctors, or even our veterinarian, finds out he's a doctor, they talk exclusively to him. I don't even want him to go to the prenatal appointments anymore because no one talks to me. They all talk to him, and I can't ask my questions to anyone but my husband at home. But he's already told everyone he'll be delivering his first baby. I guess I don't want this because I wanted him to be there as a husband and a father and not a doctor. I see him as a doctor 95% of the time, and I wanted to experience this with my husband and not my husband the doctor. I wanted him to be there for me as this is my first birth and I'm terrified. He just keeps telling me I'll be fine. He pulled in friends and family who also don't understand my point of view. They said this is his first child too and to just let him have this since I had the honor of being pregnant. I just really wanted him to hold my hand all the way through it and be able to share this experience as parents and people instead of a medical professional. I was hoping we could see the baby at the same time and just be equals in this. Am I being selfish for wanting this to be my way? Relevant comments, from all subreddits. Commenter. He pulled in friends family who also don't understand my POV. They said this is his first child too and to just let him have this since I had the honor of being pregnant. Who are these people? And why does everyone defer to your husband this way? Your request is totally reasonable and your husband's lack of understanding is pretty glaring. NTAOP, his mom, sisters, and our really close friends that I guess are technically more his friends than mine. I haven't brought it up to my friends because I'm just not comfortable having our friends weigh into our relationship the way he is. I think his mom just likes his plan because it pulls her into the room which I attempted to veto early on. I do love her so much, but I wanted this to be our experience. Commenter, downvoted, NTA. But you both have visions of how your baby will be born, so you need to talk it out. Chances are the very last part of the birth you are not going to be holding hands. He is going to be with you in the delivery room either way, but this is something the two of you need to resolve. It's not enough to say, I want. Find a compromise. For example, if he holds your hand the entire time you're in labor and only steps in as doctor for a few minutes of actual birth, wouldn't you both have a win? Focus on having a healthy baby and creating a happy family instead of on scenes you've created in your imagination. And that applies to both of you. OP, I don't see that as a compromise. That's exactly what he wants to have happen. But the entire birthing process is incredibly emotional and exhausting. I don't want him to step away for those moments because they are what I picture to be the most painful and exhausting. I want him with me until the baby is out and we can hold her. I don't want to be abandoned during my birth while he and the other doctors catch the baby and begin the baby's workup. He's going to deliver the baby and hold the baby all while I won't be able to see anything because my legs will be in the air. I'll miss my husband holding and seeing my baby for the first time, and I'll feel completely by myself and like I'm missing out on those crucial first moments. Maybe you're not a woman. But nothing sounds worse to me than having my legs in the stirrups, immediately post-birth with a sheet draped over my legs where I can't see my husband or baby meeting for the first time. Commenter, deleted, downvoted. I think you're overestimating what your attention span will be like in those moments. My mom let my dad catch both of their babies, and she told me that when she was doing those final pushes, she didn't care where my dad was. All she wanted was to get the baby out. She also said it meant a lot to see the joy on my dad's face, and having him hand her the baby instead of some random doctor or nurse made the bonding process more special. I'm not telling you this to change your mind. I'm just giving you an idea of what that moment could be like. OP, I just don't see it playing out that way. If he is there to catch the baby, he's going to want to start doing some of the exams, and we're already having so much trouble getting the doctors to talk to me and keep me informed. It just feels like another link I'll lose to the situation to actually be kept up to date and prioritized in the moment. I know that sounds really silly, but I've been sitting in on my ultrasound appointments and prenatal appointments, and they are focused on the belly, but not on me. Pretty much everyone talks exclusively to my husband. It's been a huge challenge to feel like I'm a part of it and not just coincidentally caring for the baby. Commenter, tell him that you've had to do everything by yourself your whole life already. This is not one of the things you can do by yourself, and you want him there when it comes out. You just want support once from the start to finish. It's lonely always having to take yourself places, to teach yourself, entertain yourself, and so on. And it's exhausting. Especially growing up like that your whole childhood, knowing people can just up and leave. Maybe tell him you're feeling so effing lonely, that you just want him to be there. If he doesn't understand, you may as well do this by yourself again. Surely the nurse can tell him to stay with you, and now is not the right time, Mr. Doctor, sir. Oh, and it's out. Sorry, congratulations your parents. OP, I'm going through so many comments, but I stopped and read yours 50 times and it hit me really hard. This is it, this is why I feel the way I do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Update comment 1. Not sure the right way to update. Posting it here as well. Update, I am going to confront him tonight when he gets home. He's already going to be upset because we both have restrictions on how much time we spend on social media sites, and I have significantly surpassed that today and yesterday, which he'll know as soon as he reviews the router logs. I'm hopeful I can catch him before that makes him too upset. I did reach out to some of our mutual friends just to see what he has told them for why this is so important to him, only to learn he never discussed this with them. I think he made up what he has been saying. They were really shocked to learn we've been having this disagreement and were actually quite supportive of an expectant mother controlling her birth plan. I'm quite nervous about his reaction to this as well, and I'd like to get ahead of this. Wish me luck and cross your fingers for me. Update comment 2. I first want to say, thank you. Thank you every single one of you who took the time to reply, send messages, check up on me, send me messages, and share your stories. I've read so much more than I'll ever be able to respond to. Thank you. Those who took the time to share resources and volunteer your own time, you're angels in the flesh. Thank you. I'm so incredibly touched by this overwhelming outpour of love and support. Also, thank you to even the people who told me I was selfish or crazy or any other derogative you chose to use. I'm not sure what helped me more, the people posing such great questions about if I felt safe, comfortable, loved, or the people telling me I was the terrible person. Something about attempting to reread my story as an outsider and seeing the comments where Redditors told me I was in fact the problem broke something in me, and I finally saw through the haze. But hey, maybe try to be nicer to strangers on the internet and consider your words more carefully. We're all people trying to get through life. So many of you are kind, caring, and loving individuals. Thank you for caring about some random things on the internet. I don't even have words. I can't say a whole lot about these last few days. So much has happened that I will be processing for years to come. All I can say is I am safe and I am free. Read into that as you will. My next steps are leaving this chapter of my life behind. I'm moving out of this city and I'm going to try starting again somewhere new. Somewhere beautiful where every time I look outside, it's hard to believe it's real life. I've always felt drawn to the mountains with all of their beauty and might. I don't plan to ever log into this account, or even Reddit, ever again. I did the same thing at 16, and I'm hopeful these last few decades have set me up for more success than I had the first time chasing a new start. If you read my story, and you relate to it in any way, or you too feel smothered, voiceless, and alone every single day locked in the house with someone who is supposed to love you, I just want you to know what I now know. That isn't normal. That isn't what life is supposed to be. There are people you can rely on and strangers can be your best friend. The cost may be steep, but the cost to stay is so much more. Farm this post for all of the comments and support available. I pass it on to you and beg you to use what resources you can find. The sheer volume of personal messages I received from people in the same boat, people sharing support, people checking in to make sure I was okay. There's such a community here and they will help you before you even realize you need it. I'm not sure what's next and that's terrifying but also refreshing. I haven't had that in so many years. Weird guy shows up at my parents' house at 1 a.m. looking for me using details from 20 years ago. Help me figure out this mystery. Posted this on the Creepy Encounter sub and someone suggested I post here. This happened 3 nights ago and I'm going crazy trying to figure it out. I just moved into a new apartment 1 month ago and I'm still unpacking and settling in. I have been using my parents' address as my mailing address, who live a few towns over, 20 minutes away, all of my life. 3 nights ago my parents called me at 2 a.m. and freaked out and proceeded to tell me this story. Apparently at 1 a.m. someone starts banging on their front door and repeatedly ringing their doorbell. My stepdad walks downstairs and opens the door, leaving the front glass door closed and locked. There was a man standing outside, who looked to be in his 30s, with a black hoodie on with the hood pulled up around his face. He didn't have any distinguishing facial features, facial hair or tattoos. The only thing my stepdad said was that he looked to be Hispanic. Neither my stepdad or my mother, who was watching the whole thing out a window, recognized the man. The man says, "I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm looking for my full name." My stepdad plays dumb and says, "Who?" The man proceeds to state my full name again and says that my boyfriend is worried because I didn't come home that night. He claims to be a friend of my boyfriend and tells my stepdad that they are both out looking for me, worried because I didn't show up at home. I don't have a boyfriend. I live by myself with my 3 dogs and haven't been in a relationship in the past 5-6 months. Here's the weird part. My stepdad asked the guy what boyfriend he was talking about and the man told him the name of the boyfriend I had when I was in 10th grade, nearly 20 years ago. My boyfriend in 10th grade has a very, very unique Italian name. I've never met anyone with a full name even close to his. He says my high school boyfriend's name a few more times to ensure my stepdad heard him and repeats that they are very worried about me. Is my stepdad sure I'm not inside? At this point my stepdad is weirded out and closes and locks the door in his face. The man does not leave. He lingers in front of my parents' house for the next 10 minutes, smoking cigarettes and talking on the phone. Finally, my parents called the cops. About 5 minutes before the cops arrive, the man walks down to the dead end on their block and drives away in a silver car. Stepdad was unable to get the license plate. My parents file a police report and nothing else happens. After I hear this story I am going nuts over the weird details. How would someone know who I dated nearly 20 years ago and what would the motive be of making up a story that included that weird detail about my past? I have not had contact with a 10th grade boyfriend in over a decade. Yesterday, I decided to message him on Facebook to see if he has any insight. I tell him the whole story. He's just as confused as I am and claims to have no part in it. I am at a loss. I'm also really freaked out that some strange man is going through that much trouble at 1 a.m. to look for me. Any insights or ideas would be greatly appreciated. No, nothing else weird has happened since then. Update 1. Wow, this really blew up. Thank you so much for all the kind words and precautions that I should take. I want to add something here that a few people commented on, that might shine some light on this mystery. First off, I am not in any legal trouble and have no reason to think someone would be suing me. God, I guess it's always in the realm of possibility that I'm being sued by someone, But I really don't think that's it. Like I previously commented, I had an expired registration ticket that I did not show up to court for, but I believe I got a letter in the mail just asking me to pay a really large fee, so I don't think that's related. I did take a personal loan out. Took it out about a year and a half ago. It wasn't anything too crazy and I was really good with making payments on time until about 6 months ago when I had a medical issue. Currently, I am really behind on payments, but to my knowledge, I have not defaulted on the loan yet. What do you guys think? Related? I had absolutely no idea that this is a thing or I would have included this detail to begin with. Let me know your thoughts. Update 2. I have a list of a few things that I am going to look into tomorrow, based on my own thoughts and based on a ton of valuable feedback I got in here. Thank you. We'll post an update ASAP. Update 3. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to update. It's a super busy time at work. Unfortunately, there isn't much to report. I called the loan company. They claim to have nothing to do with it. All of my friends and family also noted that the 1 a.m. factor kind of rules that out anyway. Nothing else strange has happened to my parents. I went there for the first time last night and kept a close eye out for anything, didn't observe anything out of the norm. So this remains a mystery. I'll be sure to update if something else happens. Final update. Alright, 1 year later I finally have an update to this insane mystery. I will include the original story here first followed by the update. After this happened, my family and a couple of my close friends have been talking about this mystery in depth to try and put our heads together to figure it out. We all have our own theories, but ultimately no definitive answer as to what happened or who this creeper was. So we pretty much put it to rest and only continued to joke about it once in a while. Here's the update. My stepsister, my stepdad's daughter, and her fiancé were at a house party right after the holidays, around early January of this year. While they were there, they started talking to a girl that neither of them knew. After some time talking together, the girl started talking about her ex-boyfriend and how they were going through a really tough time together. They had just recently broken up and she felt really bad because he was a wreck over it. Somehow it came up that this girl's ex-boyfriend was my 10th grade boyfriend, the one with the really unique Italian name. The whole situation wasn't that big of a coincidence, since I went to high school with my stepsister's fiancé and we have a lot of mutual friends. So it makes sense that they were at a party that would include some people I went to high school with. As soon as my stepsister and her fiancé hear this, they both start freaking out and without revealing too many details, they tell the girl about the whole mystery and how weird it was. As they are telling the story, the girl's face starts to go white and she looks like she's about to cry. My stepsister and fiancé try to console her and ask her what's wrong. The wine beer had been flowing at this point, so I'm sure everyone was a little tipsy. The girl starts to tell them that a few nights ago, she was sleeping, and someone started banging on her door at, get this, fucking 1 a.m., just like what happened to me at my parents'. The girl jumps out of bed and says she was absolutely terrified by how loud and aggressive someone was banging on her door. She said she literally thought it was going to break in. The girl has a Ring camera, so looks at her phone. There on the camera is a guy in a black hoodie, banging on her door. She obviously pretends like she isn't home and keeps all of the lights off. He continues banging. As she is getting ready to dial 911, the guy stops and leaves. She said she was absolutely terrified. For whatever reason, she didn't end up calling the cops, but may have gone to stay with a friend that night or the night after. My stepsister and fiancé are shocked by the details and how similar it is to my story, especially because of the mutual ex-boyfriend we share, except this girl literally just broke things off with him. They asked the girl if she has any idea who the guy is and she said no, but that it definitely is not the actual ex-boyfriend. She said this guy was much taller and heavier than our shared mutual ex. How fucking weird. This mystery is still unsolved and these new details honestly just make my head spin even more. No one else has shown up to my parents' door since the actual incident a year ago. OP added extra info in the comments. So a few answers to some questions. My 10th grade boyfriend was into drugs when I dated him back in high school. No idea if he continued to use throughout his life or not, but can confirm he is definitely an addict who may or may not be in recovery currently. My 10th grade boyfriend has been to my parents' house multiple times. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in, and my 10th grade boyfriend has been over many times while we dated in high school. I don't know where he currently lives, but he grew up about 10 minutes away from my parents' house. My 10th grade boyfriend and I had a horrific breakup. I met my high school sweetheart while I was dating him and broke up with him in a pretty messed up way. He held a grudge over it all throughout high school and was extremely nasty to me to the point of bullying. At one point, I had to get a security guard to escort me to classes because him and his friends were bullying me so badly. The bullying was only severe for the rest of 10th grade, but he definitely hated me all throughout high school. At one point he did end up apologizing to me, and explained that he was just heartbroken over me breaking up with him, but at that point, I was way past the point of forgiving him. After graduating high school, we ran into each other maybe once or twice while I was home from college, and he was totally cordial and nice with me, and we laughed the high school experiences off. I can definitely try reaching out to him on Facebook again and bringing back up this whole mystery with the added updates from his recent ex-girlfriend to see what his reaction is and gauge whether or not he's being truthful in it. I can also ask some mutual high school friends who know him about how he currently is, if he's into any shady shit or not. My stepsister only gave me a first name and description of a recent ex-girlfriend from the party. But I can go on my 10th grade boyfriend's Facebook and look for her under his friends, then reach out to her on Facebook Messenger to inquire about ring footage and ask her more questions. Also see if she ever reached out to cops. I agree this is probably the best thing to do if I want more answers, but I agree I need to be careful as I still don't know what is going on here. My 10th grade boyfriend does not have a brother, just one younger sister that I remember back from high school. Relevant comments from OP Comment 1. I just posted some answers in the comments about the nature of my breakup with my high school boyfriend and how horrific it was and how he basically harassed me for the rest of the 10th grade. Your last theory, and what a lot of other people are commenting on, is starting to make the most sense to me. It could be that my 10th grade boyfriend has a tendency to get insanely hung up on girls and is sending a close friend or relative to do these 1 a.m. drop-bys. And this would especially make sense if he is still using drugs like he did in high school. This theory being correct would mean he lied to me when I reached out to him on Facebook a year ago, which of course he would. If this is the case, it seems like he moved on to his current ex. I just hope he doesn't swing back around to me. Comment 2. I decided I'm going to try and find out the girl's full name so I can look her up on social media. I may even be able to find her with just the first name that I already know from my steps. I can go onto my 10th grade boyfriend's Facebook and look in his friend list for a girl with the same first name who looks like she could have been his ex-girlfriend. He may even have pictures with her tagged, so it shouldn't be that hard, unless he wiped his social media clean of her after they broke up. When I'm able to find her, I'm going to reach out to her and try and get some answers. I think this is the safest route since I still don't know my 10th grade boyfriend's role in this, and I did already ask him once and he claimed to have no part in it or know anything, which may or may not have been a lie. Based on how scared my stepson said this girl was, I'm betting she'll be willing to talk to me about it since we share the experience. I will make an update post when I have more info. Thanks everyone. Am I the asshole for deciding to divorce after discovering that my wife had a tattoo of another man's name while I was away? My wife of 4 years got a tattoo recently with her best friend who has a very aggressive type of bone cancer. She didn't discuss it with me at all. I just did it while I was on a training mission. Came home Monday morning to her with his name tatted on her neck with a Pokemon. I have not returned home since I saw it. I have been sleeping in the barracks. I am honestly thinking about just filing for divorce. Am I wrong? Edit. I have heard from a few of my neighbors that she basically moved him in for the 6 weeks I was away on a training mission. And left a few days before I returned. She is refusing to even discuss it. All she keeps saying is it has nothing to do with me and her. Update 1. She was served divorce papers yesterday at our previous home together. She thought it would be a good idea to involve both our families without giving them a reason or context. I filed for divorce after I got home from my last training mission. So as the parents called, I told them about the tattoo and her moving him in while I was gone. And let them deal with her. Relevant comments OP added in the comments. Spoke with my CO about it. He said I should just let Jag handle the paperwork. And he will have me in a new duty station by Monday. He said a man can't live with that level of disrespect, and I agree with him. Comment 1. What did you say to her when you first saw it? And how did she react to you? OP, I asked her what she did. And she said I got a Pokemon tattoo and showed me. I saw his name on her neck, and I just went quiet and picked up my bags and walked back on base. Went and saw my CO and had a drink with him. Comment 2, if my partner puts any other name on his body than my kids, his family or me, it's a problem. They could have done a tattoo without a name and on a place that isn't so out of the open. The tattoo on itself isn't an issue, but the name and place is. OP, exactly. It hurts that she turned me down last year about getting matching tattoos to just get one with her Pokemon Go buddy. But it's not the tattoo that is the complete disrespect and disregard that it's a constant symbol of. Update 2, got all my ducks in a row as they say. Sat down and spoke with my future ex-wife. She honestly expects me to just step aside and let her play house with her friend. Pause our marriage, wait till they are done, then continue our life together like nothing happened. I can't live with her plan, so I'm getting divorced. Wasted nearly 6 years on her already, not wasting any more of my life on her. Will be in my new duty station by the end of June. A fresh start I hope, and put all this behind me. Relevant comments. How has his wife tried to reconcile? She has been endlessly trying to just communicate with me. After she failed to contact me personally, she went to our parents and siblings, and when that failed, she started contacting friends and people in my unit, spouses of people in my unit. She is absolutely relentless. And it's always the same bullshit about how this is just temporary because he is not long for this earth. And I would do the same thing for a terminally sick friend. What does her family say about everything? No, they are not at all pleased. At first, her parents came at me because all she told them was I left her out of the blue after returning from a training mission. I told the truth about how she got a neck tattoo with her friend's name and had him living in our house while I was on my training mission. Update 3. This morning, my commanding officer pulled me from a training flight to inform me of my wife's death and got me on a flight back to North Carolina. Should arrive at my parents' house in about 8 hours. A month ago, I filed for divorce and changed duty stations and cut her completely out of my life. I didn't want to hear how this thing with her friend James was temporary and how our marriage would go back to normal after he passed. I am not suicidal or anything like that, but I am profoundly saddened. I keep thinking how 6 months ago we were happy and in love. And now she took her own life when I just didn't accept what she was doing for a friend who was dying from cancer. I am riddled with self-doubt and blaming myself for her actions. Thinking about everything and our parents having been friends for decades, she is now dead in the water, another victim of her delusion. I know these were all her choices but still feel guilty for her death. I don't know if hell is real or not, but I hope James ends up there for what he has caused. Update 4. Had a meeting with the funeral home today. She already set most everything up and paid for it a little over a week ago. We are having a memorial service at my in-laws' house on Wednesday. Her ashes will need to be picked up in a few days. I have a grief counseling session on Friday morning. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I'm sorry for your loss. Did she ever admit to cheating? I might have missed it. OP. A week or so ago my mother called me and confirmed she was almost 3 months pregnant, so that confirmed she was sleeping with him when I was away for 6 weeks. Comment 2. Wait a sec. She was taking care of a friend with cancer and you lost your shit over it, causing a divorce, and that plunged her probably into a depression and she took her life. Sounds like you were the problem here, not so much her. OP. Not exactly. She hit the pause button on our marriage so she could play house with him while I was on a training mission in California. Without informing me. Was pregnant with his child when I came back and wasn't going to tell me. If it wasn't for the stupid tattoo she got with his name, I might have fallen for it. And slept with her, and she would have had me raise his child as my own. Comment 3. Oh, what a jerk. I'm so sorry. Now I think your wife committed suicide to join him in the other life. Probably both went to hell for their selfishness. OP. I'm not sure if he has passed or not. Pretty much left and crawled under a rock for the last few weeks. Comment 4. I was wondering if James was still alive. Did you say how your wife? How do I ask without sounding rude? Killed herself. OP. Found out she wrote 10 letters to different people, including me. Then she emptied the medicine cabinet while her family was out. They came home, and she was in her bed and had passed away. Comment 5. What was the nature of her relationship with him? Was she giving him palliative care or having an affair with him? OP. He was still active as in up and around hell as of last week. He was still working at the card shop I was told. So we'll say an affair.